This is the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Live from Seattle Stadium, it's the USA versus Australia on SEN's coverage of the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
It's Nestor Iraconda! He's done it! What a goal from one end of the pitch to the other! Nestor Iraconda, you star!
He is made of TNT. Look at that goal, just beautiful from Nestori.
It's Conor Metcalf. Oh my word! Oh my goodness! What a goal by Conor Metcalf! Something out of nothing.
Thunderstruck is the soundtrack, and Thunderstruck is Vancouver.
Well, wherever you're listening around Australia or overseas, prepare to be thunderstruck once more. The warmest of welcomes to Lumen Field in Seattle, Washington State, for today's Group D encounter at this FIFA World Cup. The co-hosts, the United States of America, up against Australia. And three quotes today serve as the ultimate motivation for the Socceroos. Former American captain Alexei Lalas said, "The Socceroos are an average team by any measure." Landon Donovan, former American international, said, "Thanks for coming, Aussies, and your smug coach. You can get back on the Qantas plane and head back home." And most famously, CBS pundit Mike Grella said, "Australia have no shot at this tournament. They are the weakest team in the group." Are they? We're about to find out. Today must be the easiest pre-game team talk of Tony Popovic's reign. Will he have pinned some of those quotes up on the dressing room walls? It's Simon Hill and Andy Harper with you in commentary again here on SEN today. And Harps, what a noise inside Lumen Field, awaiting to greet the players.
Incredible, Simon, just incredible. They've had the decibel reading going as the crowd was going. It hit 120 decibels, which my AI scouts tell me sits right at the threshold of human pain and is dangerously close to the point where sound can cause immediate and permanent damage. So if our comms break down 5 minutes after kickoff, people will understand why. It's nuts here. It's completely nuts. The stadium is bathed in brilliant sunshine. It's packed to the rafters. There are two very healthy sections of fans, loyal fans, draped in Aussie gold, and they're doing it tough against the masses here. But I'm going to suggest they're loving every second of it.
The Australians are underdogs, of course, as we were against Turkey a few days ago. Can we spring a similar surprise? Arguably, this would be an even bigger shock if we were to win here today.
There's a lot at stake here. I mean, the winner here today, Simon, guarantees the top spot going into the next round of competition. There's a lot at stake for the US men's national team. You know, we reckon our guys and girls have got it tough in Australia trying to get media space, etc. It's a very similar story for our soccer brethren across the Pacific in the United States. And this highly touted, highly respected US men's national team, on the cusp of a really big generation of players, knows what's at stake for all the blood, sweat and tears of their communities and their parents have gone to establishing the game in this, the most powerful nation on the planet, the most sophisticated and commercialised and significant sporting market on the planet. The US national team knows what they have to do to deliver here, and I think there's going to be more than passing nerves as they come across Australia, who would love nothing more than to kneecap them at their highest moment.
It is a gloriously sunny early afternoon here on the Pacific west coast of the United States. Sunshine bathing the pitch, which looks in perfect condition. The FIFA flag has just been unfurled, which shows a globe in the shape of a football, and now the two competing nations' flags about to be unfurled as well. Those of the United States of America, hosting the tournament, of course, for the second time in their history after the first time back in 1994. And, of course, the flag of Australia, competing at their 7th World Cup finals and their 6th consecutively. There's the roar from this passionate crowd as the flags are unfurled. There is a knot of 5,000 Aussies away to my right on the lower tier, and then probably another few thousand away high up to the right wearing green and gold. They're going to have to make themselves heard today, but it's not going to be easy in this cauldron. The Seattle Sounders play here, one of the most established clubs in Major League Soccer. They average over 30,000. There's a good reason why the Americans have brought this fixture to this venue, not just because of the passion of the fans, but they played 5 times here before and won all 5 matches, scoring 14 and conceding just 2. And listen to this noise as the referee and the match officials lead the 2 teams out here at Lumen Field in Seattle. It's the United States against Australia. Harry Suter, the 66th captain of the national team, leading out the Socceroos. Of course, these days, Andy, and we mentioned this pre-Turkey, the new FIFA directive is that every single member of the squad walks out and gathers either side of the halfway line and listens to their national anthem. We're not always in favour of some of the things that FIFA do, but personally, I think this is a good initiative.
The more the merrier. You know, players, even if they're not going to play a minute on the field for their national team, get to be part of the national anthems. They're very stirring moments for everyone involved, I'm sure. We're about to see the rendition of one of the world's great national anthems belted out, I'm going to suggest, by 75,000 here. It's going to be something special. And for all the players who have been selected by their coach to be part of the World Cup squad, they should be part of this. It's a great initiative.
The United States being led out by 38-year-old Tim Ream, the oldest ever American to play at a World Cup finals. And he wants to go out on a high. He knows this is his last crack at it, and what better way to go out than playing on your home deck. But Australia, of course, have other plans to spoil the party. They only had 37% possession against Turkey, but it didn't matter. They still won the game by 2-0. Another 3 points here today, and they will be through to the knockout phase. So the teams, or the squads of 26, now almost completely lined up either side of that FIFA flag. And we're about to pause for the 2 national anthems of the United States of America and Australia.
Please rise if you're able for the playing of the national anthem of Australia.
Wow, that was something special, and we just had 4 US Air Force helicopters flying overhead of the stadium as well, just to add to the din. This World Cup match about to get underway. The FIFA World Cup meal at Macca's is officially underway, with one of 6 free cups in the lineup. Set play master David Beckham, Lamine the Dream Yamal, wing wizard Ronaldinho, the elegant Mr. Thierry Henry, Son, nice one Sonny Heung-min, and everyone's favourite purple player, Grimace. Get one of 6 free cups with the FIFA World Cup meal. Broadcast sponsor of SEN's Drinks Break during the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster. Now, in terms of the team news, the headline for the US is that Christian Pulisic, their main playmaker, is out. A persistent calf injury means he didn't train with the main group all week, and he isn't risked today. His replacement is PSV Eindhoven's Ricardo Pepi, who's had a fine season in Holland, scoring 19 goals. The rumour is he's on his way to the English Premier League to join Fulham. So the United States line up in goal: Matt Freese, a back 4 of Alex Freeman, Chris Richards, Tim Ream the captain, and Anthony Robinson. A midfield duo of Tyler Adams and Malik Tillman. Then it's Serginho Dest, Weston McKennie, that Swiss Army knife of the midfielder, and Ricardo Pepi on the left. All in behind lead striker Folarin Balogun. Australia's, sure you've heard already, have made 2 changes to the 11 that defeated Turkey. The 2 goal scorers, Connor Metcalfe and Nestor Irankunda, are both benched. In come the 2 Melbourne boys, Matt Leckie from City and Nishan Velupillay of Victory. So it's Patrick Beach in goal for Australia. The back 3 of Alessandro Ciccati, Harry Sutar the captain, and Cameron Burgess. And then a bank of 4, Jacob Italiano on the right, Geordie Boss on the left, Aidan O'Neill and Paul Ocon-Engsler are in the centre of midfield. And then the 2 supporting Mohamed Touré up front, Nishan Velupillay and Matt Leckie. Well, all is now in readiness. Andy Harper, your thoughts on what we are about to see?
Well, Simon, firstly and gratefully, the battle we were never going to win was the battle of the national anthems. And I've got to say to folks at home, I had a lump in my throat and the waterworks nearly opened. That was the most moving thing. The Aussies gave a great account of themselves, but the American national anthem sung by 75,000 people like that. And now we have the land of the free and the home of the brave versus girt by sea. We were never going to win that argument, but we can win the footy game. Let's get it on.
Our referee today is Felix Zweier from Germany, and maybe a little omen, Andy. He was the man in charge of Tottenham's win over Manchester United in the Europa League final back in 2025 when Ange Postecoglou, of course, ended Spurs' long wait. And in terms of the coaches, Tony Popovic, we know, pulled off a tactical masterclass against Turkey. I wonder if he has another in store for us today.
Well, let's see. I mean, there's fewer questions about Matthew Leckie, apart maybe from physically. He hasn't had a lot of football this year because of injury. But his experience is going to override any other problems. That's a massive call and a big one. Jury's out on Velupillay. He's a great player, Nish. He's had a great season for Melbourne Victory, but he came off the bench the other night, and he looked to me to find it difficult to get into the speed of the game. Now, that can happen from a sub in that situation, but it's going to be on from young and old. The Rockets' red glares are going to be flying through the air here to start things off. The Aussies will be under the pump. Popovic has been brilliant. The team needs now to respond.
It's going to be Australia to kick us off. The countdown is on the big screens. A perfect day in Seattle, a full house, and one of the most eagerly anticipated Socceroos matches in years is now officially underway. Can Australia ram those words of scorn back down American throats? They have, though, Andy Harper, kept 3 clean sheets now, Australia, in their last 4 World Cup finals matches.
Yeah.
That could be key again today.
Do you know, this is a battle between same but different teams, and America need to prove that they're same but better. You know, very similar backgrounds. A lot of the players, they've got more players than us playing in the top leagues. That's Alexi Lalas's point. It's incontrovertible. It's just the way it is. But that's all for the punditry in the television studios and the podcast. When the kickoff goes, Mo Touré gets the ball in the penalty area.
Yeah, mistake by the American defence, and Mo Touré has the first shot on target of the game after just 1 minute or so, and it was a really poor giveaway by Alex Freeman. Just completely lost his bearings, and Mo Toure pounced. The angle, though, was narrow, and it's a comfortable save for Matt Freese at the near post.
It is, and it's a loosener for Mo Toure. If he'd had maybe a little bit more awareness, he had Nisham Velupillay making a terrific run into the box. So a good settler for Australia. They had the kick-off. Harry Suter pumped the ball long, and the US have been camped in their own half ever since, with that first chance on goal for Mo Toure and Australia.
The Americans looking to spring forward. The attempted ball over the top by Tim Ream down in that left-hand channel, floated all the way through to Patrick Beach, who retains his place in goal. Let's be fair, he was always going to after making 8 saves. But Australia's defence under pressure. They almost give the ball away. They win it back momentarily. And the loose ball will favour Alex Freeman of the United States. Just a few metres inside his own half. Sorry, Andy. Very
important scramble from Aidan O'Neill there. Just got a little bit stuck in possession. Cam Burgess and Geordie Boss down Australia's left side trying to play out. Got a little bit stuck. Burgess's clearance, attempted clearance, was poor, and it needed Aidan O'Neill in the centre of midfield to salvage things, at least get the ball back over halfway so Australia could reset.
The Americans, of course, led by Mauricio Pochettino, former Tottenham Hotspur coach, most famously in England, and a coach who sparked some controversy by saying in the build-up to this tournament that American sports reward losers due to the lack of promotion and relegation and the draft system, etc. An argument that will perhaps resonate with some Australian listeners as well. But there's no doubt that he's got this team not only fit but firing and playing for each other, and this is probably the best generation they've had, Andy, since the likes of Clint Dempsey and Landon Donovan.
Yeah, no question. And just some reflection on the growth of the game in this part of the world.
Here's Anthony Robinson, will break off because he's looking to create the angle for the cross. Now, the Americans wanted a corner there. It didn't look as though it rebounded off Jacob Italiano, but the verdict is goal kick.
And VAR can come in on corners too, we should say. So if an official makes an error, then they can turn it around. But the USA hosted the World Cup in 1994. The opening game against Switzerland had a television audience of 9 million. Opening television audience for the game against Paraguay was 30 million. And that's in an era, Simon, when less and less people apparently are watching television. So this team is ready to go. The general sports media believes this might be the generation. It's Australia's job to put a bit of a dent in that this afternoon.
Little shove into the back of Aidan O'Neill by Weston McKennie. You can hear what the American fans think of that decision by the referee. But it is a free kick for Australia, which they sweep out towards Geordie Boss on the left-hand side. And he is held up by Alex Freeman. And now those jeers in the American supporters' throats turn to cheers as they win a disputed throw-in. This first half for Valvoline on SEN, the original engine oil and official supporter of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. We played 4 minutes. Simon Hill and Andy Harper in commentary. United States of America 0, Australia 0, and Australia with the only shot on target as yet, which was comfortably saved by Matt Freese off the boot of Mohamed Toure. But Australia looked to have settled okay in these early stages, Andy.
Yeah, no problems at all. They started very, very well. The formation is good and solid. The problem that Paraguay had was out wide, and with their back four being stretched and the fullbacks getting dragged high up the field, the US could play straight in behind them. Australia are not allowing the US to do that. It's requiring Ocon and Aidan O'Neill in the centre of midfield to do a lot of work laterally to double up on those flanks. That's the job, that's the assignment. There's a break now. Australia are looking to defuse exactly as described.
Weston McKennie with the cross into the penalty area. Australia struggling to get it away. Back in by Robinson. And wide it goes at the end off the foot of Balogun, but the referee has blown for a foul. Yeah. And Australia survived.
Yeah, Aidan O'Neill was clearly yanked to the ground, but this is a nervous moment for Australia before them. And the ball swung in, and this is the presence of Balogun there, just taking the attention of a player before Ricardo Pepi slid in. There's Balogun, and he had the handful of Aidan O'Neill's shirt, and the ref saw it, blew the foul.
Well spotted by Felix Zoya, the German referee. This is the United States' 12th World Cup finals. As mentioned, their second as hosts. Reached the round of 16 4 years ago in Qatar, where they were beaten by the Netherlands. Matt Fries under pressure inside his own penalty area, and Australia forced the turnover here. That's good pressing, but ultimately Nishan Volupale has turned the ball over. The US looking to break one, back on halfway by O'Neill, threaded through for Toure, and he just couldn't quite get the better of the defensive duo Freeman and Ream. And the United States supporters are unhappy that they didn't get a free kick in back play there when Australia first won the ball, Andy.
Yeah, well, there's a bit of give and take. You win some, you lose some. It wasn't a clear-cut one. The ref was on the spot. The refereeing, I've got to say, generally has been outstanding at the tournament. They've really let things flow. Players have responded. Fans have loved it. And it's the same here in Seattle on a brilliant, brilliant Seattle morning. No one sleepless at the moment, I can tell you.
Harry Suter tidying up under pressure from Ricardo Pepe. Back to his goalkeeper, Patrick Beach, who slings it up towards halfway. It bounces off the chest of Matt Leckie, but the United States back in possession. Only briefly hooked forward by Jacob Italiano. Then off the head of Chris Richards, just about 10-15 metres inside the United States half. Now Australia have it back in midfield. Settled down by Aidan O'Neill, but it's got away from Matt Leckie, who was then a little bit late as he tried to win the ball back. He's caught Tyler Adams. The referee's going to speak to the Melbourne City veteran. I think it is just going to be a conversation, but another one like that, Andy, and you'd fancy that Leckie is going to be in the book.
Yeah, he's had a swipe at him, mate. It's a free kick, nothing more. There's nothing more in that challenge that there hasn't been so far. It's a little bit late. He's caught him on the outside of the ankle. Adams will be fine. He's a super player. He was great game one, Tyler Adams. Matthew Leckie just put in the hole there by the pass under hit, as it was, by Aidan O'Neill. Round about the centre circle, or at the part of the field where games switch in a moment. That pass is secured. Australia are away. If there's a turnover and Leckie doesn't interrupt the flow, then it's the US who are attacking Australia's defence.
You know, I'm guessing at the lip reading here, but Tyler Adams was deep in conversation with Felix Swire there, the referee. He's carrying a yellow card into this game, and I'm pretty sure he was saying, I got booked for that in the Paraguay game. And you have to say there was probably a borderline yellow card, and Leckie's a bit lucky to survive. Here go the United States down the right-hand side. They're level with the Australian penalty area. Tyler Adams shielding the ball to keep it away from Mohamed Toure. Down the right-hand side is Serginho Dest. Now Weston McKennie. Back to Dest inside the penalty area. He shoots, and it's blocked by the body of Cameron Burgess, who was an immovable object inside the Australian penalty area. But more American pressure coming, Andy.
Right, that was an escape for Australia. Geordie Boss just clocked off. He lost his man. McKennie, outstanding against Paraguay, has been outstanding to start this for the US. His mobility across the attacking midfield area between the base midfielders and the striker, he operates beautifully between those lines. He picks up the space, and then his technical ability to beat players has been on show early here, and Australia just pinned back for the time being.
Chance of USA again reverberate around Lumen Field. Here's Weston McKennie, the Juventus midfielder. Did well to retain possession there under serious pressure, and fires in a pass towards Ricardo Pepe on the edge of the Australian penalty area. Everybody back behind the ball for Australia. A familiar pattern that we're going to see emerge over the next 80 minutes, you would say. But again, pretty comfortably defended, although it's a bit of a shank out of play off the left peg of Cameron Burgess.
Yeah, it didn't quite go where it needed to. But Australia holding together. That was the expectation, was that the US would have a lot of the possession there in good touch. And McKennie is the danger man. He's sitting out on the right-hand side of midfield at the moment and linking with Serginho Dest. It's Dest from PSV up against Boss from Feyenoord. Know each other well from the Dutch league.
Now the Americans away down the left. They've got a big chance here. Oh, it's an own goal! America take the lead. It's Cameron Burgess, the unlucky defender, who got the final touch. The cross had pace on it, and there was nothing else that Burgess could do but turn the ball into his own net. And Australia fall behind after 10 minutes. It's the United States of America 1, Australia 0 in Seattle.
Well, they were creaking, Australia. The US had put the squeeze on them and they've cracked. Most of the danger had come down our left-hand side, but the ball down the US left and Australia's right, and just getting the wrong side of the defender. And Chircardi's in trouble here. Harry Suter makes an interesting decision not to close that ball down a little bit more quickly. And by the time it's cut back and gone past Harry Suter, there's nothing that Cam Burgess can do. But it's the danger man, Balogun. He was always going to be presenting Australia with a different challenge here this afternoon. Turkey just didn't have that explosivity in the centre-forward position. The US do, and they've exploited it.
Well, it's hugely unfortunate for Cameron Burgess. The pace on the cross meant that he just couldn't sort the feet out quickly enough from the cross from Folarin Balogun. But what a turn of pace by the Monaco striker. And Australia are going to have to watch that side of the field, Andy.
Well, both sides. It's the speed and athleticism of the US team, which is directly going up against the speed and athleticism of the Australian team, and we've come up short.
The first goal that Australia have conceded at this FIFA World Cup. Let's see if they can get back on level terms, and they very nearly did. Goodness me, Matt Leckie with a snapshot with the outside of the boot, teed up beautifully by Nishan Volupale, just let the ball run, and well, the goalkeeper Matt Freese just was stood like a statue and just hoping and praying that that would flash past the post, and luckily for America it did. Australia's so close to restoring parity, Andy.
Well, freeze by name, freeze by nature, and Matt Leckie swooped. Great play by Mo Toure and worrying. Look, the soft spot for the United States, and they're best off pressing Australia high and having a crack at them, because the weak spot is their defence. And you look at that goal attempt again from Matt Leckie. It all started because of the space they gave Mo Toure to hold the ball up and set some players in motion. And as we had it, it was Melbourne Victory's Nishan Volupale to Melbourne City's Matt Leckie. There's a poor giveaway from Cam Burgess.
And Balogun pounces and links up with Tillman, but the ball into the penalty area is deflected away. It is going to be a corner for the USA, and these are crucial moments, Andy Harper, for Australia. They must not concede a second time.
Well, they responded very positively as the goal was scored and the game was restarted, but they're back on their heels now with this corner to be swung in. Adams, free, Bream, very, very big. Balogun, very athletic in the air. They've got some handfuls.
It's going to be Malik Tillman on the far side of the stadium as we look high in the main stand, one of two covered areas, completely covered areas at Lumen Field. The pitch bathed in brilliant sunshine, and the likes of Tim Ream and Chris Richards, who's presently just in conversation with referee Felix Swire, along with Paul Okonexler, as the players are told, not for the first time, but I dare say not the last, to keep their arms to themselves from this set piece. Okonexler's task is to keep Richards at bay. Tillman's delivery now. Oh, and America had a free header there. The referee has gone for a handball, I think. Yep, that is the verdict. So pressure relieved. A handball by Weston McKennie with the brightly coloured, I was going to say two-tone hair, but I think it's actually three-tone.
Yeah. For the tricolours, it's a big header off the chest.
Yeah,
of Geordie
there's
Boss.
the handball from Weston McKennie as the ball rebounded
And
to
well picked by the ref. An escape from Australia. McKennie, right in the middle of our trio of big, tall players, got a free, not a free header, but he won it easily. That's a worry for the Aussies. Poppadome bridged.
And unfortunate that it was an own goal that did it. Not Australia's first own goal at the World Cup. Cole Curran was actually the first Australian to ever score at a World Cup finals. He won't thank me for mentioning it, because it was an own goal all the way back in 1974. As Volupale commits a foul right in front of Maurizio Pochettino, which, as you can hear, draws the ire of the passionate American fans in the stands. And again, it's Tyler Adams, the victim. He's been the victim of one or two already in this game.
And they're just sharper than Australia at the moment, the United States players. And those individual moments when the ball comes and your first touch is tested, Australia are just a little bit sloppy in that department. The United States have been very sharp out of the blocks. Huge credit to their coach for having the team ready to go, as they so evidently are.
15 minutes gone in Seattle. The clock for Valvoline, the original engine oil, as Australia commits another foul, and this time the referee's patience has run out, and Geordie Boss gets Australia's first yellow of the game.
Got a handful of McKennie's cheeks, both of them, and the referee's patience has run out. And he's had to turn and chase a couple of times, Geordie Boss. His positioning has been found wanting. Perhaps sometimes Simon relying too much on his raw speed.
Well, this is a different sort of a test now for Australia. Against Turkey for the major part of the game, Andy, they had everything in front of them, but the Americans, particularly with Balogun down the left and on occasion Dest on the right, are showing that they can get in behind the Australians, and that was what caused the problem for the goal. They've got a free kick now, the host nation. Right-hand side of the field, midway inside the Australian half of the field, slung in by Tillman and hooked over the crossbar by Weston McKennie. Goal kick, Australia.
He's been front and centre for everything, Weston McKennie. Just such an excellent player.
Plays for Juventus, of course, in Italy's Serie A. Had that little loan spell at Leeds United in England back in 2023, which didn't really go according to plan. Now Australia have been caught out trying to play out from the back, and the cross loops across the face of goal. It might have taken a bit of a deflection, that one, and it flew over the head of Patrick Beach, but fortunately for Australia, Andy, nobody following in for the Americans on the back post.
Yeah, another escape. Again, there's nothing to it any more specifically or scientifically than America just sharper at the moment. And Australia will do well to sail with any sort of safety through this next phase until they can dent the edge, which is pretty profound at the moment. There's a free kick won by Aidan O'Neill, and McKennie has to, at the referee, this is around the place, why are players allowed to stop a quick free kick being taken?
Well, I mean, theoretically, referees are allowed to book players for doing that these days, but anyway, Weston McKennie has escaped with a booking. Australia were trying to launch a quick free kick through Aidan O'Neill. They still have that set piece, which is worked short by Cameron Burgess, scorer of that first goal of the game, rather unfortunately into his own net for Australia. Australia looking for another foul as Ocon Engsler goes to ground, but they're going to be disappointed, Andy. Yeah, it's going to be an American throw instead. Again,
just lack the sharpness and the freshness. Ocon had the ball nicely. We've seen him turn out of those sort of situations thousands of times already in his young career, but just not sharp enough with the execution.
Ball is with Tim Ream, the American captain. They're just inside their own half of the field, playing it through the three defenders before Serginho Dest darts inside, being tracked by Geordie Boss. Back to Ream on halfway. Now to the left-hand side, and Anthony Robinson, the Fulham fullback, who's had his injury problems this season. He's only really played a quarter of the campaign for the London club, but fit enough to start in the World Cup. Now the ball switches out to the right-hand side, just ahead of the Australian penalty area. Weston McKennie back through Alex Freeman, who's spent the last 6 months with Villarreal in Spain. Could well be a teammate of Nestori Irankunda, if you believe the press rumours, next season. More on that, no doubt, once the World Cup is over. Clever little touch by Dest, who's now got the ball back, courtesy of the error by the Australian defenders. And the Americans could be in again here. Well pinched on the edge of his own penalty area, though, by Mohamed Touré. And now Cameron Burgess has time to clear upfield, and Touré's trying to run after it. He was blocked off there by Alex Freeman. But there is no foul, Andy, and you had your hands up saying that should have been a free kick.
You can go shoulder to shoulder, but you've got to be within playing distance, otherwise it's obstruction. And he was obstructed twice, clearly. US defenders ran straight for him. Anyway, it's play on. Australia still have the ball momentarily.
Yeah, a little bit sloppy, Andy, in terms of the passing. That was a rather straightforward short pass for Italiano through to Leckie, and they didn't make it. It's those little 1%ers at the moment.
That's the difference in the game, and that's all it takes.
The United States 1, Australia 0, and we have played 20 minutes in Seattle. That's on the Valvoline scoreboard, the original engine oil and official supporter of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. We have got, of course, a hydration break coming up, but the ball over the top has found following Balogun. And again, Australia were in trouble there, but fortunately for the Socceroos, Balogun couldn't quite reel the ball in, Andy.
Yeah, well...
And again, they've overplayed. Here's Balogun. That one is charged down inside the box by Chakati. Australia fortunate to survive. Now they'll look to launch something down the right. Jacob Italiano on the move. Midway inside the American half of the field. Back through Aidan O'Neill. And here Matt Leckie exchange short passes. Threaded through by Ocon Engsler. That's not really what was required by Matt Leckie. Showed far too much of the ball to the Americans, and they were able to easily clear upfield.
But an encouraging passage for Australia. Secure a couple of passes, get a runner wide and in behind, and it didn't come to fruition positively for Australia, but they've managed to recycle possession and concede again and put the US under a little bit of pressure. They've just been bashed around so far, Australia, and this is a very welcome respite for the Socceroos at the moment.
Yeah, they've strung together 5 or 6, 7 passes. Not really made any territorial ground, but it's a breather nonetheless. Now they do pick out Mohamed Touré, and he'll link up with Matt Leckie on the right. 2 in the middle, including Valupale, who's at the near post. That was a half-decent chance. It's well defended in the end by Alex Freeman, who slides it behind for an Australian corner. But that was much more promising for the Socceroos.
Secured passes, players in space. Matthew Leckie retrieves it nicely. Out on the right wing, he hits in it's a brilliant ball in excellent defence. Good run from Valupale to arrive at the near post. And a very necessary intervention.
Tony Popovic with his hands on his head, but the corner still to come. And of course, Harry Sutar has made his way forward. He hasn't actually scored since the Asian Cup in 2024. He started off his international career by scoring a whole glut of goals. And he's being very, very closely watched, a little bit too closely, by Alex Freeman, who's looking to get him into a bit of a bear hug. There's a lot going on at the back post. Now the corner comes in, and Sutar does reach it, and Australia will get another corner, different sides. And just for a moment, there might have been a chance there for Cam Burgess, Andy.
Yeah, well, the US players under real pressure. The ball looped in. There's the touch from McKennie is everywhere. And Cam Burgess there or thereabouts. There's about 4 players trying to stop Harry Sutar, and you can put 5 on him, but it doesn't stop him being 2 metres tall. It's almost Greco-Roman wrestling on the back post.
Sutar jockeying for position. O'Neill's corner is too flat, and the referee spotted a foul by one of the Australian players, I think Mo Touré, and that is the signal for the drinks break. Time for the McDonald's drinks break. The FIFA World Cup meal at Macca's officially underway, with one of 6 free collectible cups. Broadcast sponsor of SEN's drinks breaks during the FIFA World Cup 2026. In the lineup, set play master David Beckham, Lamine, the Dream Yamal, wing wizard Ronaldinho, the elegant Mr. Thierry Henry, Son, nice one, Sonny, Heung-min, and everyone's favourite purple player, Grimace. So get one of those 6 free cups with the FIFA World Cup meal, thanks to Macca's. Andy Harper, your thoughts on what we've seen in the first quarter?
Well, in the first quarter, exactly. Let's see what quarter time does for the Aussies. You know, none of us football people are fans of these mandatory breaks because of exactly the opportunity it presents Australia now. The US would have been wanting the game to roll on because they were clearly dominant. It's hot in the direct sunlight here. It's not a particularly hot day, but playing with all the emotion and all the pressure, and now having chased that goal care of Cam Burgess being in the wrong place at the wrong time for Australia, making it 1-0 for the US. But it's a chance for the Socceroos to relax, and I think that's the biggest thing at the moment. It's been a nervous performance from them. You can completely understand why that emotion might have overridden the normal execution, and this is a chance now to settle. They've had a couple of good attacks. They've got a good advantage if they can win corners. We've seen it with just the 2 or 3 taken so far, and we've had a couple of sights of goals. It's not all doom and gloom. Mo Touré had a chance on goal inside the first minute or 2, and just that last flurry of corners came on the back of Matthew Leckie's beautiful cross that was nearly met right in front of goal by Nishan Valupale. But they've not been sharp enough. The US have earned their lead. They've been the better team in the first quarter. Let's see what happens in quarter two.
I think we might have to get used to that sort of terminology. Everybody in Seattle today, by the way, celebrating a public holiday. It's called Juneteenth. It celebrates or marks the end of slavery in the United States. So it's actually a public holiday. We got the band playing in the background. Yesterday was the baseball with the Seattle Mariners.
Yes.
I know our SEN colleague Adam Peacock was there watching the ball game yesterday. Were you tempted to go as well?
I'm very tempted. I'll save the baseball until I'm not around the football. But, and the Red Sox are in town tonight. So your sport for choice here in Seattle.
Yeah. I've just seen a sign in the crowds, the Americans, saying it's called soccer. I tell you what, they get a lot of things right, but not that one.
No, we can be bilingual.
So the hydration break almost over. And Australia probably glad of a little reset, because that was a tough opening 22 and a half minutes. They trail by a goal to nil. A Cameron Burgess own goal, which came on the 10-minute mark. The Americans have piled on the pressure, but Australia just with one or two little sights of goal of their own as we came towards that first little mini break in the game. And we need more moments like that. That Matt Leckie cross on the right-hand side, Andy, only inches away from reaching Nishan Valupale.
Yeah, it was a great intervention by Freeman, as you call it, and needed to be, because Nishan was there for a tap-in. And a very difficult opening to what is a big-ticket game. What a privilege for Australia to be playing against the host nation. Not since West Germany in '74 has Australia had that opportunity. And the occasion hasn't disappointed. Australia have been a bit flat out of the blocks. Could have been more harm done. Thankfully, it's just a single goal. And now see if Australia can turn things around.
Now, Anthony Robinson striding away down the left for the Americans. It's not the best delivery, to be fair. And Geordie Boss put it out for a throw, but the linesman has signalled that it's actually drifted behind. So it will be a goal kick for Australia. But again, down that right-hand side for Australia, in a defensive sense, is a problem.
It's both sides, Simon. It shouldn't be a problem with Geordie Boss, given his speed, but it is a problem. And I listened to an interview on television with former US head coach Bob Bradley. Football fans will know him well from the US national team and the first American to coach in the Premier League. And he was talking about the big thing with this team, not just the comps they're playing in, but how athletic the US national team is, and we've seen it with our own eyes. As if we needed reminding, they're very fast across the ground. It's a tough gig trying to keep up with them, and then you've got to play once you get the ball. And so far, they've got Australia's measure. But games can turn, and football can be the great equaliser.
Nearly 29 minutes played at Lumen Field. The United States 1, Australia 0. Cameron Burgess own goal. The difference, if the Americans do go on to claim 3 points, they will be through to the round of 32 in their own tournament, which of course they are co-sharing with Mexico and Canada. Canada had a big win yesterday over Qatar to put themselves in pole position to go through as well. Australia have one more game to come against Paraguay. Again, the space down the left occupied by Weston McKennie, who knocks the ball back to Anthony Robinson about midway inside the Australian half of the field. Now back through Tim Ream and Chris Richards, the Crystal Palace defender, another player who's had his injury concerns this season but has managed to pull up okay for the World Cup finals on his home deck. Tyler Adams of AFC Bournemouth takes over in the midfield. There's the chance of USA go up around Lumen Field once again. The Australians struggling to make themselves heard. Around 5,000 of them inside this brilliantly atmospheric venue here this afternoon for the early kickoff, 12 o'clock local time. It was an early start this morning, Andy, as Australia concede another corner off the head of Jacob Italiano.
Well, the home crowd is doing its job. Australia clearly off their game. Touches and passes they weren't missing against Turkey are coming short here. And it's a period in the game. Plenty of footballers have been through it. On this big stage, you've just got to survive. Find a way to survive. And the time that's remaining will provide an opportunity for you to redeem. But at the moment, it's hang on.
Malik Tillman places the ball very carefully and is about to deliver the corner, the in-swinger. It's over the head of Chris Richards, who was left pretty much unmarked by the Australian defence. Good job he didn't get a touch on that. And it's out of an Australian player for an American throw, just about level with the Australian penalty area in brilliant sunlight, as the morning sunlight gives way to the afternoon heat. It's around about 24 degrees on the Pacific Northwest coast here this afternoon. Robinson, Anthony Robinson, has a little look forward and sees that there are no real options, so he goes back through Tim Ream, who is affectionately nicknamed Grandpa at the age of 38, but very much the leader of this American team. Wide it goes for Malik Tillman, who plays his club football in Germany, as quite a few of these American players do. It's going to be another free kick, and a yellow card issued to Alessandro Ciccati. That's 2 now for Australia. Ciccati claiming that he had his shirt held before he committed the foul. I don't think it's going to change the referee's mind, though.
No, just well, he's right, actually. And the shirt, the handful of the shirt was in clear evidence. Nearly ripped it off his body, which is not to disprove or attempt to disprove that his contact thereafter brought his opponent down, but still, which came first?
Well, it's a booking nonetheless, so Ciccati joins Geordie Boss in having to watch his step, and of more immediate concern for Australia is the free kick, which Tillman leaves for Robinson. He clips it up towards the back post, and there is a foul inside the penalty area on Aidan O'Neill, so pressure relieved on the Socceroos, Andy.
It's the theme at the moment for Australia. Every opportunity at the moment is about relieving pressure. Just not been able to set. They've had some moments. It's not been without hope for Australia, but it's been a full-on assault, a full frontal assault from the US. Shock and awe, as it were.
Well, this is only the 5th ever meeting between these two nations, and Australia have lost the last 2, including a friendly which was pretty spiky late last year, in which they were defeated by 2-1. Australia's only win against the Americans, and you'll probably remember this, Andy, Orlando City, 1992, 1-0 win for the Socceroos, the goal scorer a certain Warren Spink.
Well, cheers to Warren. I remember him well. Great servant of the game. I couldn't, in all honesty, Simon, so I remember that game book and verse.
I thought you remembered all of the games, Andy.
Well, that's very kind of you. Let's hope in the meantime that this becomes a memorable one also. Australia struggling at the moment. Another heavy touch from Geordie Boss, forcing his midfield teammates to scramble and fight for possession. They come up short in the meantime.
And the Americans wanting a foul on Serginho Dest, and referee Felix Swire obliges. And again, Australia just got themselves in a little bit of a muddle there. They had enough players around the ball.
Just a poor pass from Geordie Boss. And Simon, you know, the evidence so far is that the Vancouver performance was a break from normal transition. Thankfully so. They were great in the first half, but they're not often great in the first half, the Socceroos. And they're a little bit back to their pre-World Cup ways at the moment. Now, there's a whole pile of explanations for that. The home crowd, the home team playing well, maybe still emotionally getting the battery recharged after the wonder of Vancouver might be something, but they're really struggling to stop the American players one-on-one at the moment.
That's really good play by Serginho Dest down the right-hand side, which draws a few olays from the American supporters. Another one who plays his club football in the Netherlands for PSV Eindhoven. Going down the left is Folarin Balogun, who plays his club football in France for Monaco. He's had a really good season for the club from the Principality. At one stage, he'd scored in 8 consecutive games in Ligue 1, only the 4th Monaco player to do that in the 21st century. I'll give you an interesting story about him in a moment as well, but he's on the ball again inside the Australian penalty area. And his perseverance has earned his team a throw-in.
And apart from the general performance so far, he is the big difference. We didn't have to face anything like him against Turkey. They had their other advantages that they couldn't maximise, but Balogun changes things completely.
Australia are pinned in a bit here. They give away another throw, courtesy of Ciccati. which the Americans take quickly. This is Anthony Robinson, Tyler Adams first to show, back through Tim Ream, and now across the defensive line to Chris Richards. But the Americans are deep inside the Australian half of the pitch, where all the play is condensed. This is Malik Tillman, who got away from one defender, but not the second, and then he's back to his feet pretty quickly to close down Jakarta and keep Australia pegged back in their own half of the field.
Look, I think, Simon, actually Australia probably, when they've had the opportunity, pushed too high up, and I don't think they've been compact enough. And I think the gap between the right and left centre-back, Australia playing three centre-backs, the right and left of those, is losing contact with the right and left fullback, or pushing too wide. That channel has been opened up, and the US have played through it. I think we need to drop deeper.
Well, give it away again. This time by Aidan O'Neill. It is like wading through treacle at the moment for the Socceroos, trying to get out of their own half of the pitch. That's a lovely back heel by Malik Tillman. Here's Fuller in Balogun just outside the D. Australian on the back foot once again. Serginho Dest swings the ball in. One in the air by Harry Sutar. And now Australia must try to clear their lines. And again, it's not too convincing. Just scooped out for a throw-in. Ocon-Exler and Burgess with a little bit of miscommunication, perhaps.
Yeah, and look, in fairness to Paul Ocon-Exler, he was actually trying to settle things down and not panic, which he did well, but I don't think he got any help at all from Nishan Kalupala, who stood right in front of him.
Well, now they've got some respite because a rare mistake by the Americans gives them a throw, but still very deep inside their own half of the field. Geordie Boss takes. Burgess thumps it forwards in the vain hope of finding Mo Toure. Oh, then a nasty clash of heads between Paul Ocon-Exler and Alex Freeman. I don't think there was any intent there. It is going to be a free kick for the Americans, Andy, but a nasty clash of heads.
Yeah, Ocon just a little late to the challenge. Nothing illegal in it, but just a little late. They've both whacked each other on the bonce. Both sets of players and technical areas have reacted very quickly.
Well, just that story on Fuller in Balogun. Some people might be aware, some might not be. And the reason why he plays for the United States is a real accident of birth. His parents both living in Britain. His mother was heavily pregnant with him when she went on holiday to the United States. And she was about to board the plane from New York back to London. She was so heavily pregnant that the air stewards would not let her on the plane. So she had to give birth in New York. And Balogun, here he is 20-odd years later, representing the United States and not England. And he's been really, as you pointed out rightly, Andy, the difference between the two teams. His cross that led to the own goal.
And just, he has been really hard to handle. Now, there's been plenty of teammates in red, white and blue who've been doing well. Australia have really been caught on their heels and haven't been able to get into the game. And, the US have had pretty much the perfect start to this. They had the perfect start to game one against Paraguay. And the fact that if Australia get into half-time without any more hemorrhaging, and Popovic does his thing in the sheds, which he's got a proven record of doing, then clearly there's great hope for the second half. But in the immediate sense, it's hope for both these young warriors who've clashed heads. Ocon-Exler is getting the once-over. He's claiming he was elbowed in the head and asking for a yellow card. I don't think necessarily there was an elbow, a stray elbow, even accidental, but one never knows. Both players are on their feet, which is the important thing.
Paul Ocon Sr. patrolling the technical zone, one of the Australia assistant coaches as well. Of course, concerned about not only one of his players, but of course his son as well. Wonderful player in his own right, Paul Ocon Sr. Never actually played at a World Cup finals for Australia.
Yeah, well, this is Australia's 6th consecutive World Cup, and you think that 30-odd year period where Australia couldn't qualify, and the quality of players like Paul Ocon, who can't say they played at a World Cup, but pretty much did everything else in football.
Well, after a rather lengthy delay, both players have been past fit to continue. And we are going to restart, I think, with looks like A drop ball, yeah, free drop for the Americans. I thought it might have been a free kick, actually, for the US. But that as good as.
Yeah, same diff. Both Freeman and Ocon-Exler declared good enough to continue playing.
41 minutes played on the Valvoline scoreboard, the original engine oil and official supporter of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. It is the United States 1, Australia 0, a Cameron Burgess own goal after 10 minutes. And you mentioned, Andy, that Australia's first halves have not been that flash in quite a few of their recent games. Their second halves, though, have tended to be a lot better. So let's hope we see the same pattern here in Seattle.
Well, clearly they're going to need it, and I think Socceroos fans can expect a better outcome. Not outcome, a better performance. And the Vancouver experience doesn't change the fact that Australia's first halves generally have been poor, but very good in the second half, including that friendly match to which you've earlier referred against the US.
Here is Weston McKennie in possession for the United States, looking to thread a little ball through into the penalty area. That doesn't come off, but he has the ball back now, looking to tee up a teammate. Back through Tyler Adams, just about 20-25 metres away from the Australian goal. Serginho Dest on the right-hand side. He's been good in the first half. Good play by Tillman. Dest into the penalty area. And eventually Australia sorted out, but only momentarily. They are still on the defensive. Ocon-Exler in a real wrestling match with Malik Tillman, and ultimately the whistle goes in favour of the Americans. Free kick.
And again, the second wave of pressure came because the clearance, if that's what it was, out of Australia's penalty area was not good enough. Made no territory and went straight to an American player. And when it got down to this situation, Cam Burgess rightly steps out of it, but it was Ocon-Exler who was beaten in the first instance, and he tries to play his way out of trouble. In the end, just not fast enough or strong enough to see off the US attention.
Here's the free kick. Robinson back to the top of the box, and it's fired in with pace. It spoons up in the air, and into the back of the net it goes. Alex Freeman got the final touch, but Australia may yet be saved. The roar in the throats of the American fans is going to be subdued in a minute because the referee has blown. They will check it, of course, via VAR. It was a well-worked free kick. Robinson back to the top of the box, but it looked as though at least 3 American players, definitely 2, were in an offside position, but it spoons up in the air off an Australian defender, Harry Sutar.
Well, the question is twofold. Is the person who actually scores it, was he offside? But clearly there was a second player who was offside, who interfered with Beach, the goalkeeper, at least got in his personal space.
Malik Tillman and Alex Freeman were the two bearing in on Patrick Beach, and they got there ahead of the Australian goalkeeper. We're looking at it again on the replay monitor. It's worked to the top of the box. The shot then ricochets off Harry Sutar. There is certainly 2 players
the goal scorer
in an
is
offside
onside
position, but the goal scorer appears to be onside.
But it's the third person there who's in Patrick Beach's space, and the VAR will need to check if they discern whether that was preventing Patrick Beach from making a necessary play at the ball.
Well, it's a long check here. The VAR signal is made. The decision is imminent.
The goal scorer was not in offside position.
There's your answer. It's 2-0 for the United States of America. Alex Freeman was onside, and the whole of the American squad goes to celebrate with him. And Australia really do now have a Mount Everest to climb, Andy Harper.
Well, this is an interesting one for the rules bottoms. They clearly, on review, must have decided that Patrick Beach wasn't interfered with. Certainly not physically, but his line of sight. There's no question that Freeman was in an onside position. Make it very clear. He was clearly onside, the person who actually ended up scoring the goal. But he's not the query for me. And this is really interesting. The deflection out of the shot, the ball loops, Patrick Beach beaten by that deflection. And the VAR has decided that no one in an offside position has stopped Beach from trying to get to the rebound. It's a tough call on Patrick Beach. The deflection has him sprawling on the ground. He gets to his feet really quickly and throws himself bravely, but Freeman's the favourite from that 1v1 situation.
Well, I must admit, Andy, we've watched it from several different angles now, and I don't think Balogun impedes Patrick Beach.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So the goal stands from Alex Freeman to add to the earlier own goal scored by Cameron Burgess. And Australia now trail the co-hosts by 2-0. And it's a real uphill task now. And you've got to say, on balance, Andy, the Americans have deserved this advantage.
And the hope for Australian fans watching and listening was that we would get to half-time just the 1 goal down, but they've been very short of the gallop. Second to the contest. Not sharp enough in their individual technique, and 1v1 runs across the ground, they've just been second best.
Here they go again through Tillman, down that left-hand side. It's another corner for the United States. I mean, a third goal here kills the contest completely. And then, of course, you've got to think about goal difference, particularly with the Paraguay result against the United States.
They haven't had an answer. Popovic has got a lot of work to do at half-time. They've had no answer in this first half at all.
Well, we're into just the third of 7 additional minutes at the end of the opening 45. Some of that for the hydration break. We've had that delay for the concussion test for Ocon, Engsler and Freeman as well. Here's the corner from Tillman. Australia defend that one okay, and the whistle's gone in their favour. A foul by Chris Richards, a big grin on his face, which suggests that he knew that he was the culprit.
But of course, the flip side to the story so far is that the 2 goals Australia has conceded. One was an own goal, and the second was from a deflected shot.
We're just seeing the semi-automated offside, which showed that Alex Freeman was clearly onside. I don't really think that was the issue. You rightly pointed out that he was onside. It was whether Beach was impeded.
Yes, they had to declare that and confirm it, and I think they've done they came up with the right decision.
Well, this is a first half that has not gone according to plan for Australia. Here's Jordy Boss looking to launch a rare Australian attack, and he was brought to ground, seemingly, and the whistle's gone the other way.
Handball, the ref says.
Handball, okay. It certainly looked as though he was fouled. Let's have a look at that handball. Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. Comes off the forearm of Jordy Boss before he was upended by Tim Ream. And we've just got a shot of Tony Popovic on the sideline, arms folded. I think he's filled that little black book that he normally writes on.
Yeah, no pages left. Has he got enough time to get through all the dot points?
Well, we'll run through all that in the halftime show, which is coming up in about 3 minutes' time. We've just seen the match momentum graphic on our monitor, and it confirms really what we've been saying this entire first half, that the Americans have been really dominant. Nishan Velupillay lucky to get away with a foul there. He had a handful of Alex Freeman, the goal scorer's shirt, but the United States were in possession, and referee says play on. This is Anthony Robertson. No particular hurry now for the Americans. They've built the beachhead, putting 2 past Patrick Beach, and they can now see it through comfortably to half-time. Up to the Australians to come out and try and force the issue. They're trying to press and keep the Americans pinned in their own half of the field. Jordy Boss has done well, and he goes to ground, looking in vain again for a free kick, Andy Harper.
Yeah, getting no help at all. That's the rub of the green. They've earned their ascendant position, the US. Changes will be made at half-time. I'd be extraordinarily surprised if Popovic waits for that magical 60th minute.
And in terms of the personnel, who are you thinking of, Andy?
Well,
Story.
It has to. Yeah. It has to be. Has to be, just to get the Americans thinking about something. We've posed very few questions to them.
Well, the good news in the second half, the Australians will be attacking the end of the ground, where almost all of their supporters are located. Not that they've had much to cheer about in this first half. The likes of Leckie and Volupele replacing Irankunda and Metcalf today have not seen an awful lot of the ball like most of their teammates, Andy. They've been chasing shadows.
Yeah, those two changes haven't worked, but to say that that's an error, it absolves too many other players of poor passes and poor touches. Outside of the own goal, Cam Burgess hasn't looked as assured as normal. Harry Suter hasn't dominated the way he did. A different type of game, though. We keep saying the US have really played in behind the Australians on the angle, and Balogun's been a real handful.
Were you a bit surprised that maybe Tony Popovich didn't consider Lucas Harrington for this game, given that he plays in MLS, of course? Let's break away from that before we get the answer, because the Americans are on the attack again. It's a misplaced pass, which has actually worked out all right for them. It's broken kindly for Alex Freeman, who's steaming forward down the right. Boyd by his goal, and Dest with the shot on target. Well held by Patrick Beach. That could so easily have been 3-0.
It could. The only thing that surprised me in this half is that Australia haven't just dropped deep and absorbed the pressure. There's an opportunity to switch here, and Ocon makes that pass.
Well, a goal before the break here would be a dream for Australia to halve the deficit and just quieten the crowd. Here is Geordie Boss. Gets away from Serginho Dest. Can he find the angle from the cross? But in the end, he's shot out of it by Alex Freeman, who was too strong for him. And there's one or two words exchanged between the two in the aftermath. And that, I fancy, is half-time. The referee has blown for the interval, and that argument will continue between Boss and Freeman. But that was not a good first 45 minutes for Australia. The Americans deservedly on top. They took the lead through a Cameron Burgess own goal after just 11 minutes. And then Alex Freeman, after a lengthy VAR review on 43 minutes, double their advantage. And Australia have a mountain to climb in the second half. At the break, it's the United States 2, Australia 0.
SEN says yes to going out after the game with DD. Cheap trips so you can do more. When you buy certified Australian made, you're backing local businesses, jobs and our economy right here. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster.
Score game day deals at BWS. Get 2 cases of Carlton Dry mid 3.5% bottles for $92. Save $24. Hurry, offer ends Sunday. T's and C's apply. Choose to drink wise.
The FIFA World Cup meal at Macca's is here. Score a free cup with 6 to collect. Featuring Beckham, Ronaldinho, Henry, Yamal, Son and Grimace. The FIFA World Cup meal at Macca's. Available at participating restaurants for a limited time while supplies last. All rights reserved. FIFA World Cup 2026.
That's the sound of a cricket bat being shaped. Concrete mixing. Socks being stitched. Made right here in Australia. And when you look for products certified with the green and gold kangaroo, you can be confident you're buying an Australian-made product. You're backing local businesses, jobs, and our economy. Look for Australian-made and buy Australian.
At Robot Building Supplies, ChatGPT doesn't get a look in. We ask our own robot.
Robot's got it.
Got Merbu decking and timber sleepers?
Robot's got it.
Steel framing and building supplies within 24 hours?
Robot's got it.
The original robot since 1946. Robot Building Supplies. Notting Hill, Sunshine, Preston, Dramana, Pakenham, Coldstream and Darnham. We're robot, but we're human. robotbuildingSupplies.com.au.
ROBOT, Robot Building Supplies.
Lace up your boots and get ready for the biggest football event of the year with Westfield. You won't want to miss the free football activities and giveaways for fans of all ages during the month of June. Westfield centres across Australia will become home to SBS football fan zones, streaming iconic matches from the tournament. Check out the full schedule on the Westfield website or open the Westfield app for more info about their free football activities.
When you're stuck in a long queue or sitting for a new hairdo, add some thrill to your wait with our $40 million jackpot every 3 minutes. Keno Go. Download now. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply. Gamble responsibly.
Say yes yes to turning into a Soccerwoo girl at the pub. Say yes to going out after the game. Say yes, I'm Dee Dee. Woo! Woo!
Hello, it's Albert Sanusa from State Transport. Every journey is guided by care, safety and compliance, protecting our drivers, customers and everyone on the road. Choose safety. Call State Transport 134 888.
Our people are your solution.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. Tilers and tradies, make sure you get unbeatable deals on all tiling tools and machines at National Tiles financial year clearance on now. Yes, tilers and tradies, make sure you get unbeatable deals on all tiling tools and machines at National Tiles financial year clearance on now. Make tax time work for you at National Tiles. Buy now and claim now. But you'll have to be quick, so rush into National Tiles now and save.
Running towards goal. Whoa, that's holding the ball.
That commentary with a little adult twist is brought to you by Sexyland. They get it, now so can you. Right to the final siren.
Australia's biggest range of sexy costumes, lingerie, couples toys and fun gifts and games for adults. Sexyland.
11 stores in Melbourne, including Geelong and new store in Seaford.
Open till midnight, 7 days a week, or shop online for 2-hour delivery.
Take me out, Sexyland.
Score game day deals at BWS. Get a 10-pack of Matzo's ginger beer cans for $40. Save 12. Hurry, offer ends Sunday. T's and C's apply. Choose to drink wise.
SEN says yes to going out after the game with DD. Cheap trips so you can do more. When you buy certified Australian made, you're backing local businesses, jobs and our economy right here. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster. This is the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Now the Americans away down the left. They've got a big chance here. Oh, it's a no goal. America take the lead. It's Cameron Burgess, the unlucky defender, who got the final touch. The cross had pace on it, and there was nothing else that Burgess could do but turn the ball into his own net at this FIFA World Cup. Let's see if they can get back on level terms, and they very nearly did. Goodness me, Matt Leckie with a snapshot with the outside of the boot, teed up beautifully. Well, the goalkeeper, Matt Freese, just was stood like a statue and just hoping and praying that that would flash past the post. Here's the free kick, Robinson back to the top of the box, and it's fired in with pace. It spoots up in the air, and into the back of the net it goes. Alex Freeman got the final touch, but Australia may yet be saved. There's your answer. It's 2-0 for the United States of America.
The Global Game. Choices Flooring Halftime Floor Show. Choices Flooring. Style, comfort, quality. Helping you choose with confidence. Broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster.
Yes, this is the Global Game. Choices Flooring, a halftime show at the break in Seattle. United States leading Australia by 2-0. Our first half recap, thanks to Host Plus, named Best Super Fun by Money Magazine, Finder and Mozo. That's a plus, issued by Host Plus Pty Limited. Check the PDS and TMD at hostplus.com.au. Broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster. We're going to get the thoughts of our expert commentator, Andy Harper, thanks to Chemist Warehouse. Get discounted prescriptions and save more money at Chemist Warehouse. Broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. The official radio broadcaster, Andy Harper. I don't know about sleeplessly in Seattle, but Australia was sleepy in Seattle the first 45. Is that a fair summation?
Completely fair. And the reasons for it, goodness only knows, is the occasion too big for some of the players? Because this is a massive occasion. The noise pre-game hit 120 decibels. I mean, that's going to shake you to the very to your very skeleton. Didn't seem as though they were able to respond to that. Maybe the emotional hangover from Vancouver. I know we're just speculating, but when the game started, and pretty much for the entirety of that first half, Australia clearly second best. So the thing that you're hanging your hat on at the moment is that America didn't run right away with it completely. That the goals that ended up did going in, Patrick Beecher's goal actually wasn't threatened, apart from the own goal And that's the problem for Cam Burgess, as he came across being a left footer. Instead of planting his left foot and hooking with his right, his instinct is to try and stab it with his left. It's a low percentage option. His technique caught him out on that particular behaviour, but that's not to hang everything on Cam Burgess, because the damage was done upfield. And I'm surprised with the way Australia started the match, Simon. I thought they might, and probably in hindsight, maybe Popovic would agree, who knows. Where Paraguay got hit was exactly those channels out wide. Paraguay played with a back four, 2 centre-halves and 2 wing fullbacks. The wing fullbacks pushed up on the US wingers, Pulisic in particular in the first half, and that space between the wide fullback and the centre-backs, the US were driving Mack trucks through that. I thought, watching that game coming into this one, those parts of the field on the right and left-hand side, Australia would just absolutely make sure were shut dead. They haven't been able to do that, and they've been ripped to pieces. And then in the individual exchanges, not fast enough, not sharp enough, and not quick enough on their own touch, and they've been exposed. But the nature of the goals will give them some sort of encouragement. It took an own goal to go 1-up, and a deflected shot with a scramble to make it 2-0. The goal really hasn't been threatened otherwise. We've been stretched all over the place outside of our own penalty area, but the goal itself not necessarily threatened. Now we need the second half Socceroo, Simon, which is something that we've learned to expect out of Tony Popovic.
Let's talk about the big moments, thanks to Liquorland. Game on, drinks sorted, legendary. Liquorland, broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster. Outside of the 2 goals, Australia have had 1 or 2 opportunities. There was that Matt Leckie moment where he curled the ball with the outside of the boots, with the goalkeeper really stood like a statue. And early on, Mo Toure did it, at least force a save out of Matt Freese.
You know, if Australia can play with the ball a little bit, there's no problem. They're capable of doing much better than they did in the first half. And let's see what Popovic can, how he can turn the ship around in this half-time talk.
Okay, they're the thoughts of our expert commentator Andy Harper. Thanks to Chemist Warehouse. Get discounted prescriptions and save more money at Chemist Warehouse, broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster. We're back in Seattle after this short break.
SEN says yes to going out after the game with DD. Cheap trips so you can do more. When you buy certified Australian made, you're backing local businesses, jobs and our economy right here. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster.
Score game day deals at BWS. Get a 4-pack of Vodka Cruiser Blueberry 10% cans for $22. Hurry, offer ends Sunday. T's and C's apply. Choose to drink wise.
The FIFA World Cup meal at Macca's is here. Score a free cup with 6 to collect. Featuring Beckham, Ronaldinho, Henry, Yamal, Son and Grimace. The FIFA World Cup meal at Macca's. Available at participating restaurants for a limited time while supplies last. All rights reserved. FIFA World Cup 2026.
Looking for a commercial vehicle before June 30th? Check elementsmotors.com.au. Isuzu, GWM, Mitsubishi, Nissan, Kia, LDV, Ram, Chevrolet and Hyundai. At Elements Motors, we're just giving great deals on every ute, van or truck. No yelling, no BS, just great deals. Don't lose your pants. Get down to Alan Mance.
Don't risk your shirt. Don't risk your pants. Don't take a chance. Go to Alamance.
LMCT 4976.
Lace up your boots and get ready for Westfield's Football for Fans this winter. With free and exciting football activities, there's so much on offer for the whole family, including special guests, giveaways and competitions running throughout the football frenzy. So whether you're grabbing a bite to eat, seeing a movie or picking up the latest football gear, there's something for everyone. Check out your local centre's website or the Westfield app for more information about free events and activities at Westfield's Football for Fans.
When you're stuck in a long queue or are sitting for a new hairdo, add some thrill to your wait with our $40 million jackpot every 3 minutes. Keno Go. Download now. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply. Gamble responsibly.
It's official. 3 of Australia's biggest players, Money Magazine, Finder and Mozo, all declared Host Plus the best super fund winner. That's 3 big wins for your super. 3 from 3. That's a plus. Awards and ratings are only one factor to consider. Issued by Host Plus Pty Limited. General advice only. Consider the PDS and TMD on our website before deciding. Search Compare Host Plus today.
Say yes to tackling a couple of socceroonas at your local after the match. You get it? Socceroonas, schooners. It sounds like schooners. Anyway, say yes to going out after the game. Say yes. IDD.
2 aerospace engineer founders reinvented the mattress and bed. You know who I'm talking about, right? Sleeping Duck? Well, guess what? Now they've added an auto sheet refresh feature. You press a button and changing sheets becomes a breeze. Ask your friends and visit sleepingduck.com.
In this new era of ChatGPT and AI, the tradies of Melbourne have spoken. Us blokes want the real robot.
Robots got it.
Carpentry, fencing, engineering projects and DIY. Robot Building Supplies can help you get the job done.
Robots got it.
The original robot since 1946. Find us in Notting Hill, Sunshine, Preston, Dramana, Pakenham, Coldstream and Darnham. We're robot, but we're human. Robotbuildingsupplies.com.au.
ROBOT, Robot Building Supplies.
Woody in the morning, Woody in the evening, Woody at any time. Now I get my Woodies, thanks to AMI.
If you can't get a good erection or you have premature problems, call the doctors at AMI. AMI has helped thousands of couples with longer lasting sex. AMI has a fast-acting oral strip that may provide better stamina and a prolonged performance. Call the doctors at AMI on 1800 10 1080 for a free consultation.
Score game day deals at BWS. Get a bottle of Grant Burge Miami Shiraz for $18. Hurry, offer ends Sunday. T's and C's apply. Choose to drink wise.
SEN says yes to going out after the game with DD. Cheap trips so you can do more. When you buy certified Australian made, you're backing local businesses, jobs and our economy right here. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster. This is the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Yes, welcome back to Seattle. The players just making their way back out for the second half. Our halftime partner choices Flooring, broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster. And the first thing to tell our listeners, Andy Harper, as the teams make their way back out, is that it looks like Australia are going to make a double change, maybe even a triple change. At the moment, I could only see Jason Geria and Connor Metcalf, but you can clearly see a third player out there.
Kunda.
Are they good changes for you?
They're good changes. He had to make a couple. I mean, you take your pick. There's a few Aussies that needed to have an early shower. It's just been a bit too much for them today for whatever reason. So Connor Metcalf, the goal-scoring hero, comes in after his time on the bench. Jason Geria for Italiano. Geordie Boss survives for the time being. He's found it difficult in the first half at left fullback. And Aaron Quinda to come on. I'm going to assume it's for Nishan Valupale. Can't quite see at the moment.
Well, we're about to find out. The Americans look as though they're going to go with the same 11. Missing Christian Pulisic, of course, today, Andy, but they barely missed a beat without him.
Yeah, and look, Australia have just opened up those inside right, inside left channels, to use old-fashioned terms. And they've opened them up way too much, and the US have just been piling through. We haven't had an answer for it. It surprised me that we've vacated that space without really fighting, and now we've got this 2-goal margin to redress.
Well, one of those withdrawn is the unlucky Cameron Burgess, who scored that own goal in the first half. Jason Geria takes his place, and you're right, Andy, Nishan Valupale has his number called.
So Italiano's still on the field?
Italiano's still on the field.
Yes, he is. So Australia look like they're going to a back four.
And Mohamed Toure is the third player replaced.
Right.
Nestori Irankunda, Connor Metcalf and Jason Geria, the three new introductions for the Socceroos. Let's see if those changes in personnel work in the second half. The Americans get us back underway. They are kicking from right to left as we sit high up in the stand, but referee wasn't quite ready, so a false start. I'm going to have a take two for the team that is leading by 2-0 and is 45 minutes away from confirming their place in the knockout stage. Now, I'll tell you what, that's a kick-off, Andy, that rugby union would be proud of.
It's perfect.
And we've seen that come much more in vogue in recent seasons. The punt forward to gain territorial advantage rather than maintaining possession of the ball. Are you a fan?
Oh, mate, just get the ball into play. I'm not. It's surprising given the possession is all mantra at the moment in football, but from kickoffs it's about territory and then trying to win the ball in that attacking third and 2 passes away from getting a shot on goal. That's the theory.
And the reason why that kickoff was so good, it went right to the corner flag and actually struck the corner flag and went out for a throw.
It would have won nearest to the pin.
Yes. Now Matt Freese under pressure for the first time, and he manages to clear his lines, as does Tim Ream, up towards halfway where Jason Guerrier got the better of his opponent. The Americans wanted a free kick, and Australia just for the first time bullying their opponents, which is an encouraging thing to see. And down goes Aidan O'Neill, and the verdict is a goal kick. Aidan O'Neill looking pleadingly at the linesman for a free kick in that tussle with Anthony Robinson, but it goes the Americans' way.
Well, it's a great effort from Aidan O'Neill, but in the end he just couldn't break free of Robinson, who stuck to him like glue and won the goal kick, which has duly been taken. So Australia haven't changed to a back four. It's just a straight swap in the centre, Guerrier for Burgess, although it has meant that Chirikati goes to the left side of the central defence. Jason Guerrier at the right side with Harry Sutar in the middle.
Well, I was just about to say, Andy, that for the first time the passing looks a bit sharper, and then Jacob Italiano lets the ball get away from him, and it's out for a throw.
Yeah, I was feeling exactly the same as you. Jacob's touch letting him down, conceding the throw, and now Sutar conceding the free kick on Balogun.
Little push by Harry Sutar, wearing the captain's armband once again, his 40th cap for his country tonight. His brother John, of course, might be in action later on for Scotland. They play Morocco in one of the other groups. And the way things stand in this group, it will be the United States going through, and then it will be all about what happens in the other match between Turkey and Paraguay, and match day 3, which for Australia means a game against the South Americans. And games against the South Americans have been tough down the years for Australia, Andy. That's not to say that the team can't beat Paraguay, or perhaps even get the points that would probably take them through.
No, but even that scenario is still 45 minutes away. Australia have settled. They'll get their chance. A goal can change everything. A ball into space for Irankunda. We saw that the other night in Vancouver. The US, their second half against Paraguay wasn't as good as their first, but maybe they felt from a position of 3-0 up at half-time they could put the cue in the rack to an extent.
Well, they're not quite that far in front here in Seattle. And again, just a little bit of miscommunication in the Australian defensive ranks.
Just very hesitant. Where players were very proactive the other night. Chirikati here just on his heels. There's the foul.
And he's already on a yellow card, of course, Chirikati, so he's just got to be a little bit careful. It is just a free kick for the Americans, which they've taken already. Ball inside the centre circle. Swept left to Anthony Robinson. Now back through the captain, Tim Ream, who's now back playing in Major League Soccer with Charlotte FC after his decade with Fulham. Tyler Adams, who is still in England with Bournemouth. And the Americans content just to have a little bit of possession in and around the centre circle. Chris Richards of Crystal Palace. Square to Tim Ream. And now Alex Freeman, who will look to play the ball into the channel for Sergino Dest. But Australia sort that out in the shape of Chirikati. And now Sutar all the way back to Patrick Beach, who cleared in a little bit of a hurry. And possession is back with the Americans midway inside the Australian half of the field. Ream out towards Robinson on the left. About 35 metres now from the Australian goal, maybe even 40. Back through Chris Richards. On the right is Sergino Dest, happy to use his teammate as a dummy run. And then the pass goes astray and Malik Tillman has to turn and chase for it. He's done well playing in the pockets as well, Malik Tillman, Andy.
Yeah.
Midfielder from Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah, Tillman and Tyler Adams have been excellent. But as the defensive shield for the back four of the US, they haven't really been tested. Australia in possession generally have been very poor.
And Adams is the man that tends to sit, with Tillman given a little bit more licence to go forward. But Australia have the ball at the moment. Wide right, Jacob Italiano, level with the American penalty area. The cross wasn't a particularly good one. And then Italiano went down, but won back briefly by O'Neill, who was then run out of it. And Balogun is away at the other end. It's Fuller and Balogun, one-on-one with Patrick Beach. Can he find the back of the net? And that is a brilliant challenge in the end by Chakati.
Well,
Balogun just delayed a moment too long. Australia within a whisker there of going 3-0 down, Andy.
This is a danger side. He's the danger man. It's an unbelievable chase from Alessandro Chakati. But the Aussies up in arms. There were clearly 2 fouls in the lead-up, one of them at least on Aidan O'Neill. And the referee just waves play on. He had handsfuls of shirt and whatever. And the ball through, Australia were exposed, but Chakati's chase was fabulous. I'm not sure, actually, if he scores, they don't wind it back for a foul in the lead-up. Anyway, that's a moot point now. They do get the corner. Still more trouble, potentially, for Australia.
6 minutes played in the second half. The US 2, Australia 0. The outswinging corner's a really good tail on it. Iran Kunda lifts the ball up in the air and out wide in an attempt to get Australia clear. And now they might have the chance for a counter. Iran Kunda, well, didn't really get the head up and seek out a teammate with any sort of accuracy at all. And the Americans are quickly back in possession. Ball in towards Balogun with Sutar at his back. Balogun rides that little bit of pressure and earns a corner off Chakati. Chakati claiming it should have been a goal kick. Linesman disagrees.
He continues to be the single biggest difference. The US have had Australia's measure on a few different registers, but he is the single biggest difference. Fuller and Balogun, the centre forward for the US, been really hard to contain.
Americans working the corner short and getting another corner, this time off Connor Metcalf. And that pressure just starting to build on the Socceroos once again. Trailing as they do by 2-0 on a lovely sunny afternoon in Seattle. Capacity crowd, very atmospheric stadium. Here's the latest corner for the Americans, which is fended off. In fact, I think there's been a bit of a clash of heads again. Not the first time. Fuller and Balogun and Alessandro Chakati, the two protagonists, and both with sore heads at the moment, Andy Harper.
It's a heavy bash. And they're really keenly contested, those corners. Australia have got a lot of tall players, and the US also.
Well, 4 years ago in Qatar, Socceroos defeated Tunisia on match day 2 by 0-0. They are well behind on the scoreboards here this afternoon. The Valvoline scoreboard, the original engine oil and official supporter of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. 54 minutes played. 3 changes made by Tony Popovic at the interval. Iran Kunda yet to really get involved, yet to really receive a decent pass. He did get one ball deep inside his own half and wasn't able to do much with it. And what we'd like to see, Andy, is one of those balls over the top that we saw against Turkey, with Nestori using his pace and power to get in behind the American defence.
Well, the big difference is where Paul Okon-Ensler could find that space to hit that pass. There is no time in midfield. They've hunted in packs, they've done it quickly, they've been sharp as attack, the US. And Australia haven't really had an answer, certainly haven't able to settle.
And the Americans going direct through Chris Richards, the ball over the top, but it had too much pace on it. Never a chance that Serginho Dest, who's been very good this afternoon.
He's had a great season with PSV. They won the comp in the Netherlands by some margin.
Again, an Australian turnover. Oh, and then that looked like a foul by Robinson, but the referee's played the advantage here. And now he is going to bring them back because the Americans had snaffled the ball on halfway and bring them back for that foul on Jacob Italiano.
Well, I didn't think there was a foul ultimately on the ball-winning situation, but there clearly was. Referee,
yellow card as well for Robinson.
Definitely a yellow card. Ref tried to play advantage, and he gets the ball. Ricardo Pepi.
That's the second challenge.
That's what the ref has said. That's the end of the advantage.
Yeah.
He's come back and given Robinson a yellow card for that, clearly. That's the right call.
So an Australian free kick in the American half of the field, a rare enough thing in itself so far this afternoon in Seattle. Clipped forward by Ocon Engsler. Leckie looking to use his body, and ricochet favouring Tyler Adams, who heads the ball out of play for an Australian throw. Just inside the American half of the field, although Australia now work the ball back into their own half of the pitch, and Harry Sutar, and he goes cross field. It's too high though for Italiano. Not enough of those passes have stuck today.
And Harry Sutar, to his credit, tried to change things up and stretch the play a little bit. Italiano did well to keep it in play, but of course those exertions were only rewarded by an American picking the ball up in midfield.
Well, the USA chants go up around Lumen Field once again. At the moment, Australians just don't have an answer. This one kept alive by Ricardo Pepi. Just nipped in ahead of Jason Guerrier. Now Anthony Robinson takes over. Left-hand side of the field. Midway inside the Australian half as Socceroos retreat into their defensive shape. Worked wide by Alex Freeman towards the right-hand side now. Serginho Dest. Conor Metcalf just got a foot in. And Chakati should be able to see that one safely behind. And it is an Australian goal kick, which hasn't gone down too well with the locals. They thought that should have been a corner. And Weston McKennie was right on the hammer of his marker there. And again, similar sort of a story with Malik Tillman on Jason Guerrier. They've been right up for it today, the Americans.
How quick were they, Simon? Exactly. Jason Guerrier a little fortunate to get away with that, winning the throw in. And so far for Australia, clearly the best part of this half is there's been no addition to the scoreline and no further damage.
Leckie trying to weave his way through. Boss with the cross in towards Irankunda at the near post. And Australia have a corner. Americans
I think they're
on the field and off the field protesting that the final touch came off Irankunda, but referee Felix Swire unmoved.
I think Tim Wynn was also appealing for a handball.
Well, the replay might tell us if he's correct.
Anyway, lucky break. Matt Leckie just hacking his way through three attendant defenders.
A lucky Leckie break.
Yeah.
And now that corner's been overturned.
Yeah. Australian joy short-lived. Matthew Leckie hasn't regained his feet over on the left.
New rules for this FIFA World Cup, of course. So long as the decision, Andy, is made quickly, they can overturn on corners, which I don't know what your view on that is, but it's the latest creeping encroachment of VAR.
Rule creep. Yeah, Matt Leckie's in trouble here. He's still sitting down after seeing off three would-be US defenders. He just bludgeoned his way through.
Well, he's not played a lot of football, has he, Matt Leckie? Only started one club game since last October due to hip surgery, although in fairness he was outstanding in a match that he did play against Auckland in the finals of the A-League. And playing in his 11th World Cup finals match tonight. That's an Australian record, by the way.
We're about to get an Australian debut here. Christian Volpato. I'm going to suggest it'll be a straight swap for Matt Leckie.
What was your take on Volpato's inclusion in the squad by Tony Popovic, Andy? Bit controversial in some places.
Of course, but really, who chooses where to be, that's totally their business. I think the most surprising thing is it came late to us, but Christian's name was submitted on a pre-announcement list sometime before the late flurry.
Well, Matt Leckie's going to play no further part. He's going to walk off the field on the far side and trudge around in front of the Australian supporters. And Christian Volpato, who played on many occasions for the Italian junior teams, is standing by for his World Cup debut. Not actually his Australian debut. Played 45 minutes in the friendly against Switzerland, but it is his bow in the World Cup. The player who reportedly turned down an invitation for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, when the Socceroos were managed by Graham Arnold, of course, but he's on today in place of Matt Leckie. And he's got a big job to do.
Big job. Controversial inclusion or not, a goal from Volpato will make him 100% adorned as a Socceroo in the eyes of any doubting fans.
Australia have got to get the ball forward to him first, and at the moment their back defending is Balogun. I tell you what, if that first touch is better, Andy, Australia are in trouble again. As it is, they switch defence into attack, and Nestor Irankunda races away into the penalty area. He doesn't have a lot of help, has to check back. Now the chance, and it's scooped over the bar in the end by the freshly arrived Christian Volpato. Well, really, Australia's best chance of the second half, one of their best chances of the game, all told, but he couldn't hit the target, the freshly arrived substitute.
Well, Volpato's first touch is great. He drops it into the space for Nestor Irankunda, who's clearly onside. And as he's zeroing in on goal, Nestor, he's just as likely to thrash it from that angle, but he second guesses. Connor Metcalf is taken out as a supporting runner. Like there.
Yeah, by Tyler Adams.
And apparently nothing to see here.
Well, I must admit, when you see that replay, I mean, Tony Popovic is disappointed with the finish for a start, but I reckon when he sees that little bit of contact from Tyler Adams on Connor Metcalf, he too will be asking the question as to why VAR, at the very least, Andy, didn't ask the referee to take a second look at it.
Well, that's what it's there for. He was the one supporting runner to hit the space at the front post for Nestor Irankunda to find, and he was taken out round about the penalty spot.
Anyway, on we go, and a little bit of encouragement for Australia. They managed to work the ball into a good position there.
Well, it's a great chance. It falls onto Volpato's right foot. He's ostensibly a left-footed player. But that would have been a great little moment for Australia, just to cool the jets of the US.
As it is, with 63 minutes played on the clock for Valvoline, the original engine oil. It is the Americans leading by 2-0. And Folarin Balogun on the ball inside the Australian penalty area, looking to roll his marker. Australia had numbers back, and they managed to clear the danger. And now Geordie Boss has a little bit of time in that left full-back area. Back towards the captain, Harry Souttar. Little drop of the shoulder from Aidan O'Neill, and Jordan Boss sets away down the left. And attackers somewhat slowed. Ocon Exler back to Boss, and the ball just shy of the halfway line. And now Harry Souttar just in front of his own penalty area. Guerrier out to the right-hand side, finding Italiano. Little slip ball through for Connor Metcalf, and I tell you what, that was the right idea, wasn't it? Because Irankunda was in space, but it was just overhit.
Yeah, it's a beautiful idea from Connor Metcalf. A good passage from Australia. And it started, we talk about this from time to time, it started with Aidan O'Neill turning blind and throwing a dummy to get the touch, the approaching defender off his back, who reads his first direction and then opens up the whole field.
Well, you wouldn't say the Americans are panicked just yet, but they're just starting to build a bit of pressure here, Australia. And they're in the penalty area again. It's Connor Metcalf who forces a save out of Matt Freese. It's a regulation save, but the Australians are just starting to crank it up a little bit.
No, look, it's again, the soft spot for the US, it hasn't been tested enough, is their defence. And they haven't cleared the ball. It falls to Connor Metcalf on the edge of the box, who might have got more on that shot.
The danger remains at the other end, though. Tillman goes to ground, looking for a foul, nothing doing. Another good pass from Connor Metcalf. He's made a really good contribution since coming off the bench. Iran Kunda will hear after that.
Come on.
Now surely he's brought down by Chris Richards.
What is going on here?
Well, the referee has waved that one away, but he was clearly body checked out of the way by Chris Richards there, Nestor Iran Kunda. Referee was having none of it, Andy.
Well, excuse my outburst, but that was ridiculous.
Well, the boo's ringing out. It's from the American fans. Yeah, the arm across, he's just shoved him out of the way. I mean, it's outside the penalty area, so it was only going to be a free kick anyway, but I think Australia had a case there.
Yeah, but they've stolen the ball much better in this second half.
And this is Volpato. Nice little shimmy to get away from not one but two defenders before he's ultimately caught by Tyler Adams. Again, Australia going to be denied a free kick that they feel should be theirs.
Just didn't quite have that speed to break that second attempt from the defenders, who got the better of Christian. But his touches, Volpato, since coming on, have been very promising. Australia in a better shape at the moment, still with a 2-goal deficit, which is daunting.
We're almost at the midway point of the second half, or the third quarter, if you like. The hydration break not too far away. And the Americans comfortable, but not perhaps as comfortable as they were. And those changes have had an impact for Tony Popovic. And maybe that's why the home fans, Andy, just started to crank up the noise a little bit, sensing maybe that their team need them.
Well, they're great fans, the US, the great sporting culture. They know their job as a set of supporters, and that could be the reason why they're turning up the temperature a little bit.
The ball with Chris Richards, central defender for the Americans. Now it's worked out to the right-hand side, jabbed back by Alex Freeman, I should say. And back to Richards, just inside the centre circle, across the defensive line to Tim Ream. And then back by Tillman. And America comfortable in possession. Now they launch it long over the top on the left-hand side, but it's run away from Anthony Robinson. Australia have a throw. And that's drinks, folks. End of the third quarter. And this drinks break for the Australians maybe not come at an opportune moment. They just started to ask one or two questions of the Americans. The FIFA World Cup meal at Macca's is officially underway, even if the players stopped here for the moment, with one of 6 free cups in the lineup. Set play master David Beckham, Lamine, the Dream, Yamal, wing wizard Ronaldinho, the elegant Mr. Thierry Henry, Son, nice one Sonny Heung-min, and everyone's favourite purple player, Grimace. Get one of 6 free cups with the FIFA World Cup meal, broadcast sponsor of SEN's Drinks Break during the FIFA World Cup 2026 official radio broadcaster. Andy, Tony Popovic, animated as he normally is when he gets the opportunity to speak to his players, but I reckon he'll be a lot more satisfied with that little period for the Australians.
Yeah, it's going true to form. That poor first half has made the necessary changes to mentality as well as personnel. And Volpato's inclusion has just taken it up another level or two. So they're edging close to the Socceroos. A goal can change the mood of everything. They've got to be careful they don't get hit on the break in those moments that they do dominate. And the US, through Balogun principally, are looking really dangerous. But they've not been punching holes in Australia's defence like they did religiously and repeatedly in that first half. And Weston McKennie, who was so instrumental in the US dominance of the first half, has virtually been unsighted in this second half. So Australia have been able to reset the terms of engagement on a few levels. A goal will change everything if they can manage to get one. Iran Kunda has this air of expectation, not just for Socceroos fans, but everyone in the stadium watching, and certainly Mauricio Pochettino. They know how dangerous he can be. He's had one half-sided goal, a tight angle. He opted to come out and try and set someone else up. I'm going to suggest the next one. Nestor just goes, bugger it, I'm going myself, and just let that right foot whack the ball, because he can hit it like few people. That could change everything for Australia. But as close as they're getting to halving the deficit, equally they're on the edge, I guess, of going down 3, which would be terrible.
Well, the strains of Bon Jovi and Living on a Prayer belting out around Lumen Field. many joining in. I'm not sure there are too many in green and gold, though, in the mood for singing at the moment. They're a little bit subdued away to our right, but yeah, just those few moments of encouragement. The changes have improved things a little bit. There's a sign being held up by an American in the crowd saying Vegemite free zone. What's the American equivalent?
I've got
you
no
spent
idea.
more time in the States than I have.
Well, I've got no answer for that one.
Anyway, the hydration break is over. And we're into the last 20 minutes plus stoppages. The United States still leading Australia by 2-0. A reminder that this result would not be fatal, even if Australia were to lose. The Gritty goal have finally got a free kick, by the way, for a foul on Volpato, who's got a whack to the head. One or two ironic cheers, perhaps, from those in Australian colours. It would then all go down to the final match day. The United States would be through, Andy. But then it would be really a shootout between Australia, Turkey and Paraguay. The latter two, of course, face off in Santa Clara later today. Australia looking to find Nestor Irankunda. They can't do so on that occasion. And tracking back is Ricardo Pepi, helping out defensively for the Americans. Launched forward by Alex Freeman, and it's out for an American throw. Just a couple of metres inside the American half of the field. Sebastian Berhalter is being readied as the Americans' first change. Plays in MLS for the Vancouver Whitecaps, and if the surname sounds familiar, that's because he's the son of Greg Berhalter, who was the USA's coach at the last World Cup in Qatar. He's standing by to be introduced at the next break in play. Another good pass from Connor Metcalf. He's had a really sure start in terms of his passing since coming off the bench. Here he is on the ball again. Australia just inside the American half of the field. Of course, there's the commentator's curse, Andy. As soon as I say that, he gives the ball away, but he's scrapping to win it back. Adams got there first. Italiano trying to break through. Metcalf just couldn't quite make that ball stick, and the Americans come away with it through Robinson, and then turned back by Tillman, and they're just that little bit sharper again, and then Irankunda, perhaps frustrated, goes right into the back of Tim Ream and gives away a cheap foul.
Well, in those exchanges where it was getting pretty fraught for Australia, Connor Metcalf on a couple of occasions just wasn't balanced enough, and the story thinking, well, but if Richard can take me out, I'll have a crack at Tim Ream. It wouldn't be any more complicated than that calculus, and you can understand why.
Yeah, he's still angry, I think, Nestor Irankunda, that he didn't get the whistle for that earlier incident. Here is that change, and it's Ricardo Pepi who is withdrawn for the Americans, and as mentioned, Sebastian Berhalter on in his stead. His father, who not only coached the USA at the last World Cup, but also played in a couple of World Cups himself. So like father, like son. And as comfortable as they've been, the Americans, largely in this second half, Andy, they haven't quite had the same goal threat as Jason Guerrier gives away another free kick. And the Australians just getting a little rattle. They feel that the free kicks are going repeatedly against them.
Now, it's hard not to empathise with the Aussies. And Jason Guerrier, who was just standing his ground and was being taken out, alleged to have committed the foul. He was irritated by that. The tight ones have gone the way of the US. I don't think there's much doubt about that.
Well, that's Sutar and Guerrier almost getting in each other's way for the resultant free kick, from which Malik Tillman is the first to show. Lovely balance. Looks a really good player, doesn't he, Tillman? Back through Tyler Adams. A lot of time on the ball. There's a first touch for Berhalter. It's not a particularly good one, given straight back to the Australians in the shape of Geordie Boss. And Volpato with time. Ocon Exler out towards Geordie Boss. Better build-up play by the Australians. A nice threaded pass by O'Neill to find Metcalf. Wide right is Italiano. It's a promising looking attack for the Australians. Metcalf leaves it for O'Neill. Back out wide right for Italiano. Almost level with the American penalty area. This is Christian Volpato. Twisting and turning to try and get away from two American defenders. Finds space for the cross. It's not a bad one. Oh, and it just wouldn't drop for Connor Metcalf. He felt perhaps there was a player in behind him. One back by Jason Guerrier. These are promising moments for the Socceroos, but the cross is fended off by Chris Richards.
Yeah, it's great pressure from Australia. On the canvas, the Aussies, but they're standing up and swinging punches again.
Back with Ocon Exler. Wide left is Chakati. And the home fans sensing this spell again for the Australians, lifting the noise volumes inside Lumen Field. Christian Volpato almost level with the American penalty area. Leaves it for Italiano. Back for Volpato, cutting inside. Great moment this for Australia. Can they force a goal-scoring opportunity? Irankunda's in there battling for the ball, and it's thrashed away to safety. In the end, anywhere would do for the United States. But these are good moments for Australia, but they need to make one of them tell, Andy.
You probably can't hear them at home, but the Australian fans are really encouraged by the team's fight back here. It's the first moment in the game where Australia seriously has the US pressured.
There is just a suggestion that the ball glanced off the arm here of Sebastian Bahalter inside the penalty area, but he's very close to Nestor Irankunda, and I don't really think that could have been construed as a penalty. Meantime, Australia have made another change. Jackson Irvine has replaced Paul Ocon Exler, Andy Harper, for the final 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, it's just a fresh tank of petrol.
And there's now another off-the-ball incident involving Anthony Robinson and Christian Volpato. I must confess I didn't see it. I don't know if you did, Andy, and whether VAR might come into play here.
Well, they're going to have to, because the refs, unless the assistant who was standing right there saw something and will report to the referee, the VAR will be scanning the pitches. There's nothing to see here. Volpato trying to attract some attention on his World Cup debut. A little arm across the nose, the bridge of the nose.
Yeah, there's just a little slap to the face of Volpato. He's probably made the most of it, in truth, but you never know sometimes in football. Things like that can attract the ire of the referee. It hasn't on this occasion. And those two same players are scrapping for possession. Australia come away with a throw-in. And they are within range of the American goal here.
Well, it's going to be a long throw. Harry Sutar has gone to join the attack.
Alessandro Ciccati to launch it long. Sutar is positioned at the near post. Jason Guerrier in there as well, and in the end they go short, which is perhaps a surprise. And Ciccati's cross is charged down by Balogun, and Australia will have, instead of a throw-in, a corner.
So I didn't mind the variation. Just taking, well, Harry Sutar takes all the attention. What couldn't we do with Harry now? But from the corner, let's see how we go. 66,925 watching.
And they're about to watch Christian Volpato's corner towards Harry Sutar, but he doesn't reach it, and on the half volley it's sliced well over the top by Geordie Boss. Disappointing end to a promising little passage of play that for the Australians.
It was a really good period for Australia, and Geordie Boss just at full stretch on the half volley.
Well, when you're on top, and Australia have been for maybe about 5 or so minutes, you've got to try and make those moments pay. It's going to be a double change here for the Americans. Serginho Dest to be replaced by Joe Skelly. He gets a big round of applause, plays for Borussia Mönchengladbach. Just the one change, I think, for the moment. Maurizio Pochettino wants to make a second one. Anthony Robinson has wandered off. Yep, and Austin Trusty, I should say, who plays his club football for Celtic in Scotland, is his replacement. And for the Americans, Andy, it's been sort of a similar tale really to the Paraguay game. Very good in the first half, very dominant. Not quite the same, but comfortable in the second.
Yeah, look, for most of the second half, the last 10 minutes, they've looked rickety. And pressured at the back, their clearances have been poor. Australia have just not found the angle or the freshness in the last pass or the last run. And America's speed and strength advantage has shown through. Here's Jackson Irvine breaking through the centre of the field.
And finding Jacob Italiano on the right-hand side. The Americans quick to retreat. Aidan O'Neill on the ball. Playing it square for Chakati. Jordy Boss is the outlet on the left. Can he find the right delivery? No, he can't. It strikes an American defender. Australia have won the ball back. It's a really good sliding challenge that from Aidan O'Neill to prevent an American counter-attack. And Australia remain on the front foot. It's with Jason Guerrier. Back to Harry Suter on halfway. Bit of space here for Jacob Italiano to advance into on the right. Looks for an option. Jackson Irvine comes short. Back with Italiano. They've made progress level to the American penalty area. Another little layoff by Irvine. Scooped into the box by Metcalf, and it was a tempting cross, but nobody on the end of it for Australia. It's out for a goal kick.
They're playing with a bit of freedom now through midfield. There's a little bit of a feint, playing no-look passes, selling defenders with your eyes and hitting the ball in the other direction. Australia making good passage through the US defence, which is really struggling to contain Australia at the moment. What we are missing, the value of having Nestoria and Kunda is one thing. We are missing the presence of Mo Toure. When we get the ball into a crossing situation from the right or the left, people are looking for a target. Nestoria is not the target. Right? He needs to go at people around the feet. And that's something perhaps that from this point on Popovic might look to. They've had a lot of territory, a lot of opportunity to send the ball into the penalty area, but no real target there without Mo Toure.
Would you be tempted? What have we got left? Less than 10 minutes plus stoppages. Maybe close to 15 minutes. Tete Yenge to give
he's the
more
most
of a
obvious.
physical threat.
He's the most obvious. Just to
It's nice feet by Volpato, and Australia have worked an opening here. It's fended away for the moment. Oh, it was a heavy touch. Iran Kunda trying to dig the ball out. He goes down inside the penalty area. The Australians appealing for a spot kick. Nothing doing at the moment. Here's Volpato, top of the D for Australia. Good pressure again by the Socceroos. Italiano's cross. A pretty weak clearance, but it finds Balogun. The Americans looking to clear their lines, but they are pinned in their own defensive third at the moment. Jackson Irvine looking to hit the byline. Can he find the right cross? He has to settle for a corner off Richards. Good pressure again by the Socceroos.
Well, at the moment, Simon, it looks as though both sets of players have exchanged strips at half-time. This is what the US did to Australia in the first half. The Aussies are doing in spades, but without the chances on goal.
We've just seen a replay of the challenge on Iran Kunda. I don't think that's a penalty.
No, that's not going to be given a penalty, as much as Nestori protested.
Still the corner to come. The outswinger towards the back post. Sutar couldn't reach it. Italiano. Cross deflected. Still in play for the Australia. Oh, Sutar swing and a miss. And then Jason Guerrier. It will not go in for the Australians. And now the whistle has gone. Chris Richards is down. Harry Sutar too for the Australians, although Sutar is back up and about. And that little bit of pressure on the Americans is relieved. But goodness me, Harry Sutar with a swing and a miss. If he makes contact, he scores.
Well,
surely.
It's a great scramble again. Look, they're on the rack. The US are on the rack. Italiano just gets to the byline and drops it to the back post. Australia reacted, US didn't. He misses the ball and gets Richards. That's the free kick. It's respite for the US. They're under assault, the home team. It's been a great little comeback from the Socceroos. A goal now, if they can manage it, will really set up the last 10-15 minutes.
85 minutes on the watch. On the Valvoline scoreboard, it's the United States of America 2, Australia 0. The original engine oil and official supporter of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And the Americans have the ball inside the Australian half of the field. A rare enough thing in the last 10 minutes or so. Matt Freese, though, having to clear under pressure from Nestoria and Kundra. Just managed to get rid of it in the nick of time there. And there's a bit going on between Sutar and Balogun, by the way. And now those two are contesting for the ball. Sutar wins it and then gets the referee's whistle. And that argument will continue between those two. Mind you, the size of Harry Sutar, I think there's only going to be one winner in that argument. Free kick for the Socceroos. Just inside their own half of the field. Sutar has made his way forward for this set piece. A high defensive line for the Americans. Christian Volpato to take. Floated towards Sutar. He did get there ahead of his man. Volleyed away by Chris Richards. Picked up in the deep by Volpato. Back inside the centre circle for Guerilla. The Americans with everybody behind the ball. Volpato making progress down the right. Has help from Irvine. And then Italiano swings the ball into the middle. Richards gets it clear. And then it's over the crossbar, off the left boot of Alessandro Ciccati. Another chance goes begging for the Socceroos, Andy.
Well, and it didn't set kindly for Ciccati. It's easy to criticise, but the moment came, you probably thought, I need to have a go at this. We've got to challenge the goal. But Australia are winning those challenges. The 50-50s where we were getting smashed in the first half, Australia was winning more of their share, putting America right on the back foot. They're just that one touch and telling opportunity in front of goal.
And one goal would make it a fascinating finale. Oh, now there's that argument between Sutar and Balogun has completely blown up. I know everybody's across to join in and defend the honour of their country and their teammate. And Felix Zweier, the German referee, has got a bit of sorting out to do, Andy. But that's been bobbling along for the best part of the last 5 minutes.
Very competitive sets of players.
Yellow cards out of the pocket. And referee from Germany calling the two main protagonists towards him. And both players are in the book. Sutar and Balogun.
And Italiano as well, I think.
Well, it wouldn't be a United States-Australia match without a bit of aggro, especially after all the build-up that we've had, Andy.
Yeah,
well, Sutar backed into Balogun. Balogun then threw his body into Sutar. It ended in a bear hug. I actually don't think it was that unfriendly between the two. Ciccati was across quickly. And then Italiano got involved as well, rather unnecessarily.
Look, Simon, as we approach, the last moments of the match, and there's still time for Australia. The difference between the teams now, as it's unfolding, at 88 minutes, is an own goal and a deflected effort for goal 2. That's the only difference.
Now, Nestoria and Kundra is unhappy that he's been pinged for a foul, which he thought was a pretty fair 50-50 challenge. Joe Scally, his opponents.
Of course it is.
Yeah, that looks like shoulder to shoulder to me. I mean, Scully's fallen heavily, but...
Well, that's not Nestori's problem.
I don't know whether that's a free kick.
Those challenges have been happening for 88 minutes.
Probably 88 years around the world.
Yeah.
In any case, as we get confirmation of the yellow card for Jacob Italiano, it's a free kick for the Americans, which they've taken already. And they get a corner off Jason Guerilla. Austin Trusty's attempted cross blocked by their defender from Albirex Nagata. And with not too long to go, Australia are at the wrong end of the field so far as they're concerned. 90 minutes almost up. Well, there will be a decent chunk of stoppage time, you would think. The board goes up and signals 6 minutes. Thought there might be a bit more than that, actually, Andy.
That's very skinny. when you think 3 minutes of that is taken up with the drinks break.
Yeah. And we've had a few substitutions and
a couple of skirmishes.
Yeah.
It was very, very skinny timekeeping.
Anyway, that's a minimum thereof, of course. All in the gift of the referee. Australia looking to get the ball forward. They've got a throw off Berhalter, midway inside their own half of the field. Here's Volpato. Through the legs of his opponent. That's great skill by Volpato. That's one of the reasons why he's been brought into the Australian squad. Irankunda finds Italiano overcooked the cross. Ball's still in play though.
No, goal kick.
Or is it? No, it's gone out for a goal kick. That's a disappointing cross from Italiano.
Well, he's had a good second half. I thought he struggled in the first half. Mind you, there were plenty of Aussies who did. And he's had a much better second half, Jacob Italiano, but that was the cross that was a telling moment for Australia.
We've just seen the replay as to perhaps why Italiano got booked. As that little skirmish continued between Sutar and Balogun, the Americans tried to take the free kick quickly. Italiano wasn't having it. He ran after his opponent and shoved him to the ground. Hence the yellow card. And generally, I mean, we are in stoppage time now. It looks for all money as though it's going to be a win for the Americans. And in terms of the balance of the game, I don't think really Australia can have too many complaints at the results if this is the way it ends up.
No. I think
better second half, yes.
All that. I think the Americans were better when they were good than Australians have been when they've been good. They've just had that little bit more quality and firepower.
And there's a 2-on-2 attack here. It's Malik Tillman. And he was trying to return the ball to Folarin Balogun. It was a little bit beyond him. Still alive here for the Americans. If they have the energy and the desire to go for a third goal. Little layoff by Balogun, but it's straight at Connor Metcalf. Australia not out of the woods just yet. There might be now. Here's Irankunda. He's blocked off by Richards. That has to be a free kick. And it's a yellow card for Chris Richards. A little bit belatedly.
Very belatedly.
If you ask me.
Very belatedly. Irankunda won't need. He's straight to his feet. Who was that? Well, you know who it was, Nestori. It was Richards who got you the first time. And now the referee's down with cramp.
Yeah, I just saw him actually just pull up as Irankunda raced away.
Well, keep your eye on the clock here.
Felix Swire just all of a sudden looked very heavy-legged.
He nearly stumbled in the centre circle as he followed play.
Well, Aidan O'Neill is giving him a helping hand and stretching out that calf and the hamstring. Looking at, but when you get cramp, it's difficult to shrug off.
Well, I don't know who's keeping the time at this point. Has the ref stopped his watch?
I wonder if they'll get out the pickle juice for him or say, no, you're on your own.
Well, there's a FIFA technician who's gone to him. There's no medical staff running to see.
Well, I've seen it all now.
And time...
a referee time wasting. Here comes the pickle juice.
We can relax.
Oh dear, oh dear. Just when you think you've seen it all in a game of football, Andy.
Well, this little stoppage has now ticked over 2 minutes. I'm going to suggest.
Is he going to be okay to continue?
Not doing a downward dog.
Well, I'm guessing if he's not fit to continue, and there's not long left.
Well, that's up to him, Simon.
Yeah, then the fourth official may come on and take over the whistle. Anyway, looks as though he's good to go. Let's hope he can keep up with play. It is a warm afternoon in Seattle. Everywhere around us, Americans urge to get to their feet. They think their points are won. They might be right, but it's a free kick for Australia. If they get a goal here, might just be an interesting last couple of minutes. Now that one is cleared by the USA. Geordie Boss completely lost that in the afternoon sun. Fortunately for him, Australia quickly back in possession. They have a throw, which Connor Metcalf takes. Behind him is Christian Volpato. who I have to say is done pretty well off the bench. He slings the cross in, and again the commentator's curse strikes.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
For the millionth time.
He'd set that nicely. And the time ticks away. 6 minutes was added, which seemed skinny at the time.
Changes are afoot for the Americans. Haji Wright to replace Folarin Balogun, who's not got his goal today, but he's led the line superbly well. And he was really the man who made the opening goal, an own goal scored by Cameron Burgess. And Weston McKennie also takes his leave. And Gio Reyna, son of the great Claudio Reyna, is on as his replacement. Andy.
Great first half both. Balogun a handful all game. McKennie brilliant in the first half, peripheral in the second. Australia will be ruining their first half when they've shown what they can do in the second. And the tail of the tape is likely to be an own goal and a scrappy goal off a rebound.
But for all Australia's good approach play in the second half, they haven't really worked Matt Freese in the American goal. Maybe they will do here.
No, but
Iram Kunda goes to ground, but gets back to his feet very quickly and races towards the byline. The cutback wasn't bad, but there were American defenders in the way, and it's lashed upfield towards safety. Headed back with interest by Jason Gerrier. The ball breaks no kindly for Malik Tillman. Is there an offside flag, or should there be here against Haji Wright? Not for the moment. Still Haji Wright. He's looking for the third goal. Now the flag does go up, and it wouldn't have counted in the end. The Coventry City striker was in an offside position. And we are about to tick over into the 8th minute of stoppage time. Pat Beach to launch it long. There's not long left. A goal now for Australia might only be a consolation. But of course, goal difference could be crucial in the final analysis.
Well, they know they've been on a fight the second half, the US. They believe they're across the line. And as with the Paraguay match, their first half good, their second less so. Here today, their first half dominant. The second half, they've had to hang on. But Australia just haven't been able to fancy those chances, fashion those chances.
All in the gift of the referee now. The clock reads 7 minutes and 47 seconds of injury time. It was only supposed to be a minimum of 6 minutes. Here's Malik Tillman as America look to ice the cake. And it just won't quite find its way through to Haji Wright. Alessandro Giacatti gets the ball. A look at the watch, and referee Felix Swire says it's all over. The United States of America booked their spot in the round of 32. For Australia, it's now all about Paraguay in Santa Clara on match day 3. 2 first-half goals, an own goal from Cameron Burgess on 11 minutes, and then Alex Freeman with half-time looming. They didn't quite hit the same heights in the second half. Australia had their moments throughout, but weren't able to trouble Matt Freese on enough occasions to damage the scoreboard. It ends in defeat for the Socceroos, but still probably a point against Paraguay on match day 3 will be enough. Full time in Seattle, United States of America 2, Australia 0. Andy Harper, your assessment.
Better team won, but not by 2 goals. It wasn't a 2-goal game the way it all blew up over the 90 minutes. The United States dominated the first half, and when they were dominating, they looked like a better football team. But still, Simon, as you said in the second half, for all Australia's dominance, they didn't really threaten Freese in the goal. But you could say the same about the United States dominance. They barely actually threatened Patrick Beach. Apart from the breakaway for the own goal and then the scramble for the second. So they're ugly goals by which to lose a game. The US, the better team, I'm comfortable in saying, but 2-1 might have been a better reflection.
Well, the Seattle curse strikes for Australia this time. It's now a record of played 6, won 6 for the US at this venue. And Tony Popovich, I can tell you, has just got across to the match officials and is absolutely seething at some of the decisions. I'm thinking that's probably a reference to the foul on Nestor Irankunda, maybe 1 or 2 other decisions as well. But he's got to be careful, Tony Popovich, doesn't get a FIFA sanction because he was very demonstrative there.
So, when all things are said and done, Australia ran out of time. I think the time added by the referee was very, very skinny, and that's before he went down with cramp for 2.5 minutes. So this all works against you. But on balance, when they were good, the US were too fast and too strong. We dragged them back, got into a situation where Australia was dominating, and wasn't it good to see? That's more like the Socceroos. But it was the second half Socceroos again, and the problem was they'd given the 2-goal start, and it became just too much of a mountain for the Socceroos in this brilliant day here. A memorable day for many reasons here in Seattle. Unfortunately, the result doesn't go with Australia, but they're still alive in the competition. There's no doubt about that, and the Americans now can secure a top spot. Their last game against Turkey. Turkey don't beat Paraguay, then the US finish top. If Turkey do beat Paraguay, then the US and Turkey play off for that top spot in Game 3.
Before we close, Andy, and throw over to Jordan Cornelis and Adam Peacock for the post-game show, which is coming up. And don't forget, we want to hear all your thoughts on what you've seen or listened to today, and your views on various tactics and players. I want to ask you, Andy, some of the positives today. We talked about what went wrong. For me, I like the look of Christian Volpato. Connor Metcalf was excellent again off the bench. But Christian Volpato, I think sort of underlined in some ways little flashes in the second half when he came off the bench, just why Tony Popovic has included him in this squad.
That's a very good observation. I think what we see with Christian is what we're missing with Riley McGree, who pulled out with injury. They're very similar players, and maybe Christian doesn't get picked if Riley's not injured by the hamstring, but he's come in and done a brilliant job off the bench and really looked like the spark. Over the course of the game, I'm going to say Aidan O'Neill was the outstanding contributor for Australia. In the difficult situations when Australia was clearly second in the 2-horse race, it was Aidan O'Neill who was muscling up and running through. We had very few good performers in the first half. It was a very, very disappointing first stanza by the Socceroos, but we've got used to the second half Socceroos under Tony Popovic. They just gave themselves too much of a gap to bridge and didn't quite have the quality in the end. But, you know, they've shown that fighting spirit. We know that they've got it in abundance. It hasn't abandoned them despite that first half poor outing against the US. And they put the home team back on their heels in that second half. A goal would have changed everything. It couldn't come for the Aussies. Now they lick their wounds.
Well, the strains of Take Me Home Country Road echoing around Lumen Field. The Americans jubilant. Their team is through to the last 32 of this FIFA World Cup. And just a word on the Americans under Maurizio Pochettino, Andy. And we've mentioned maybe one or two of their weaknesses. They fell back a bit in the second half, but they got the 2-goal advantage by then. How far do you think they can go in this tournament?
On the first half's evidence, everyone watching them will think this team can get to quarterfinals, semi-finals. In consecutive matches now, the second half doesn't give them a 90-minute palette to show that they're world champion potential. They've got some great players. Maybe the next World Cup on this evidence. Maybe they'll grow from here. Maybe the 2 wins now will start to dent some of the pressure that obviously builds on this team with 300 million people wanting them to become world champions. And that does take its toll, but they haven't put together enough football yet to really worry the likes of, say, France, for example.
And Christian Pulisic still to come back. And final word before we close on the Socceroos. Huge game now in Santa Clara against Paraguay. Probably against the Americans and Turkey, we expected the opponent to have more of the ball. Is that going to be a little bit different against Paraguay? Is it going to be a different sort of a game? Or is it going to be similar, given the stakes for both nations?
Well, I think with Paraguay, they have a game breaker in Ciso who will have to watch. Other than that, it can be a very even game. I think it'll be a physical game. That's the way Paraguay play it. People think this and that about South American football. Well, Paraguay are at one end of the South American spectrum, and that is a knock them down, drag them out type game. That'll suit Australia. It depends. I didn't think, apart from the players individually looking fresh and fast enough, I didn't think our setup in the first half suited us. I think we opened up too much and they punched through the holes we gave them, the US I'm talking about. So it all depends on how Popovic decides to craft the game plan, because it came up short in the first half. They changed it for the second and were much better. Now we get to Paraguay. Let's hope they're wounded and dragging their heels, the Paraguay team, coming into that third game.
Yep, they play Turkey tonight in Santa Clara. Just seen the full-time stats, and it sort of underlines your point, Andy. United States, 10 shots in total, but only 2 on target. Yep. And, of course, we gave them a goal in the first half as well, that own goal from Cameron Burgess. So it's a game of fine margins, particularly at a World Cup, but Australia just coming up short today. We want you to have your say, of course, on what you've just seen on TV or what you've just listened to here on SEN. We've got the post-game show coming up. Give us a call with your thoughts. 1300 736 736 is the number. That's 1300 736 736. For now, myself, Simon Hill, Andy Harper. Great call, mate.
Cheers, mate.
We're going to sign off. We'll see you in Santa Clara for match day 3 against Paraguay. Coming up after the break, we've got the global game post-game with Adam Peacock and Jordan Cornelis. For now, it's bye from us from Seattle.
SEN says yes to going out after the game with DD. Cheap trips so you can do more. When you buy certified Australian made, you're backing local businesses, jobs and our economy right here. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster.
World Cup soccer match coming to an end this morning with the Socceroos in action. Watch out for extra foot traffic near venues around the city, including Federation Square and Amy Park. Otherwise, a collision being cleared on Monash Freeway coming into the city at Warrigal Road. The Eastern Freeway is closed in both directions between Chandler Highway and Tram Road until 5 a.m. Monday. Significant delays expected. Search Big Build for more info. And you won't miss a minute of this year's AFL season with every game live on SEN and streaming on the SEN app.
The sweet, tangy teriyaki chicken burger from McDonald's Japan. So good, we stole it. Macca's World Menu Heist. The most wanted menu items heisted from around the world. Get them before we have to give them back. Available after 10:30 a.m.
What would your F-150 adventure be? What dream could 4.5-ton towing make true? For me, it's hauling a big, big boat like the Bertram 25, and whether it's chasing a marlin on the New South Wales coast or a whiting in Port Phillip Bay, you can chase just about any sort of fish. For you, it could be pulling a caravan or towing a horse float. Whatever adventure you're dreaming of, load it up and live it up in the Ford F-150.
Say yes to proudly showing up for your country and then losing your dignity on the dance floor. It's the Australian way. Say yes to going out after the game. Say yes, IDD.
The Razorback 4x4 up to 30% off sale is on now. They're Australia's best four-wheel drive seat covers with unbeatable protection, comfort and style for your pride and joy. They fit like a glove and they're super easy to clean, keeping your four-wheel drive safe from spills, mud and more. With a range of materials and colours to choose from, free shipping nationwide and thousands of 5-star reviews, discover why Australian four-wheel drive owners are choosing Razorback 4x4. Hurry, sale on now. Visit razorback4x4.com.au.
Score game day deals at BWS. Get 2 cases of Carlton Dry mid 3.5% bottles for $92. Save $24. Hurry, offer ends Sunday. T's and C's apply. Choose to drink wise.
Want winter fragrances that smell as good as the deals? Run, don't walk to Chemist Warehouse. This week, pick up Coach by Coach 30ml EDP for just $39.99. For something deliciously floral and fruity, get Cora's Midnight Dahlia 50ml EDT, now $59.99. Now something spicy and woody, get Victor & Rolf Spice Bomb 50ml EDT, only $89.99. And the captivating Rabanne Olympia 80ml EDP or Parfum is now from $119.99 each. Chemist Warehouse. Great savings every day.
Dryers on sale. Harvey Norman half-yearly clearance. Big brand dryers on sale. Hisense, Westinghouse, Electrolux, LG, Fisher & Paykel, Haier, Samsung and more. Race in for hot clearance deals across the range. Grab a Westinghouse dryer from just $294. Big brand heat pump dryers from $792. And LG dryers now from under $1,000. Hurry. Offers are for a limited time. Harvey Norman, Melbourne's kitchen and laundry appliance specialist. Half-yearly clearance on now.
We all love end of financial year. Here at Toyota, we like to think a little longer term, like a lifetime longer. A lifetime of durability, turning that tiny number on your odometer into something much bigger. A lifetime of reliability for wherever the road takes you. And a lifetime of hybrid efficiency, built on generations of trusted technology. Value for a lifetime starts this tax time at your local Toyota dealership. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
Say yes to proudly showing up for your country and then losing your dignity on the dance floor. It's the Australian way. Say yes to going out after the game. Say yes, IDD.
Keno Go's $40 million jackpot. Download the app. Sportsbet, the easiest way to bet on the cup. Imagine what you could be buying instead. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster. This is the Global Game.
Now the Americans away down the left. They've got a big chance here. Oh, it's an own goal. America take the lead. It's Cameron Burgess, the unlucky defender, who got the final touch. The cross had pace on it, and there was nothing else that Burgess could do but turn the ball into his own net at this FIFA World Cup. Let's see if they can get back on level terms, and they very nearly did. Goodness me, Matt Leckie with a snapshot with the outside of the boot, teed up beautifully. Well, the goalkeeper, Matt Freese, just was stood like a statue and just hoping and praying that that would flash past the post. Here's the free kick, Robinson back to the top of the box, and it's fired in with pace. It spoots up in the air, and into the back of the net it goes. Alex Freeman got the final touch, but Australia may yet be saved. There's your answer. It's 2-0 for the United States of America.
That's how it sounded from Seattle just a moment ago. Full time between the Socceroos and the United States. A 2-0 win for the US. An own goal against Australia's defender Cam Burgess in the 11th minute, and then Alex Freeman in the 43rd minute to consolidate the 2-goal lead for the United States. And it was the US who defeated the Socceroos in the second round of group stage matches. Jordan Canellos with you here in the Global Game post-game show. All thanks to Allianz Australia, official insurance partner of Football Australia, and Keno Go. Kick off soccer season with Keno Go's $40 million jackpot. Download the app for your chance to win. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026 official radio broadcaster. Give us a call, 1300 736 736, if you want to have your say over the course of the next hour or so, or 45 minutes or so. 0433 98 11 16 if you'd like to send through a text message. We'll get to those very, very soon. Adam Peacock is with us from Seattle Stadium. Adam, welcome in firstly. Not the result we want to be discussing after full time.
Yeah, JK. Just a little bit empty at the moment, but I mean, we carry that second half with us down to San Francisco in a few days, and the Paraguay match, on that, we win that game. On the first half, we all get on a plane and go home. We just weren't there in the first half, and you know, it's a tough one to comprehend, and there'll be a lot of analysis back home about it. There'll be a lot of analysis in the bars of Seattle about it in the coming hours over here. But it's a tough one because you know the home side is just going to come out with full intent. They're a high-pressing, front-foot defensive side. America, that's how Mauricio Pochettino plays his football. Having to contain that in the first 20 to 25 minutes is the goal. And we couldn't quite do it, but that 20 to 25 actually lasted the whole half. And I was hoping 1-0 at half-time. It went in at 2, and that was justifiable for what we saw. But in the second half, it all flipped around. Now, this is going to be the debate, isn't it, JK? Well, why didn't he start with what we ended with? It's not quite as easy as that, but I think a lot has to be picked apart to figure out what went wrong totally and what went totally right. Nothing in between, because that's a bit of a grey area.
Yeah, why wasn't it? Why isn't it as easy as just keeping the same starting 11? Because they were the difference makers in the last game to this game. So why? What was the rationale, do you think, behind benching Irankunda and Metcalf?
I can only think with Connor Metcalf it was physical, and he hadn't quite recovered. I may mention, remember we were on air after the Vancouver game, and Connor Metcalf spent a minute on the ground absolutely exhausted, and he mustn't have shown enough in training to be ready for it. But then I see him play that in the second half. He was our best player in that second half. Volpato will get the headlines, and a few others will get a lot of credit. But Connor Metcalf set the tone for the turnaround in the second half by playing brave football. When I say brave football, I don't mean flying into challenges. He was doing that. He was playing passes to get us out of trouble, the key link passes all the time. And it was brave. It was risky because if you're a little bit off, you turn the ball over, they're on the front foot, and they've got a shot on goal a couple of seconds later. So he was outstanding. That's the only reason I can think of that. And You know, it's proven not quite the case given how he performed. I just think with Nestori Irankunda, that Tony Popovic in a game like this didn't trust him defensively in the first half without the ball, because we weren't going to have the majority of the ball, and that's all I can think of. And once the momentum changed, I didn't mind that. I didn't mind the fact that Christian Volpato came on, and I was surprised about how much of an impact he had as well. So just those little tricky ones, but it was won and lost, I feel, how they were attacking us without the ball. There wasn't enough intent without the ball for Australia. And this was my worry coming into the tournament, JK, about those games against Switzerland and Mexico. We were just happy to sit in the opening stages and just let the opposition find their rhythm. The Americans found their rhythm, and they were playing at 1,000 beats per minute straight away. That was their rhythm, and we just couldn't get a foothold, and they attacked our right side. So Alessandro Siccardi was being pulled out of position all the time, Jacob Italiano as well. That's why Jason Guerrier came on at half-time, because he could use his pace to stay with whatever the Americans were throwing at him. But, it's a game of regret, really. It's a game of regret.
All right, we've got callers on the line. Give us a bell, 1300 736 736 if you want to have your say. Trout from Woodend is with us. Morning, Trout. How are you?
Good morning. First of all, congratulations to all the communities out there that put on Facebook page to come and watch Socceroos at local footy clubs. I went down to Diggers Rest Footy Club with about 30 or 40 other people and watched it. Just with the game, I just felt that we were waiting for them to do something before we reacted, and we were a couple seconds behind. And I'll give you a few examples. The one is when the players are one-on-one and they're trying to fight each other for the ball. When the ball got kicked forward of each player, the Americans were like 3 times faster than us on the takeoff to get to that ball, then had control of the ball. I just felt like we were just too defensive. I wouldn't say defensive, but just not reacting fast enough or taking on. The Americans took on the line of play. If he had the ball and he was kicking it, he went through.
Yeah, on the back foot, and just the Americans were sharper than us, weren't they, Adam?
Yeah, and you could feel that. And the stadium is ridiculously loud. We knew that coming in. These are not unexpected, though, so you've got to deal with it. You've got to be as sharp as them. It's a really hard thing to do, because there were 66,000 in the building today, and I reckon 50,000 of them were just screaming their lungs out for America, and the noise stays in here at Seattle Stadium. It's a fantastic structure, and I can't imagine what it's like for a Seahawks game. But, today was special for the Americans, and they took advantage of that and took advantage really well.
Thank you, Trout. Adam Peacock is our expert here, all thanks to Chemist Warehouse. Get discounted prescriptions and save more money at Chemist Warehouse. Broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026 official radio broadcaster. Nathan is with us in Point Cook. Morning, Nathan. How are you?
Good morning, gents. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Very good, thank you. What were your thoughts from this second group stage game between the Socceroos and the United States?
I reckon Adam summed it up perfectly. It was a tale of two halves, and the game wasn't. At the first half, I just felt we were a bit overawed by the moment, and the passing down back when my mate and I were watching it, we noticed against Turkey we were assured getting that ball out of the defensive line, but this time it was those little dinky passes that were getting chopped off. But credit to Popper and the team. They got the changes right after half-time, and I'm a bit glass half full now going into the Paraguay game. I think we showed enough in the second half to build on it, and hopefully we can get the job done with the moves that got made.
Yeah, you're right, Nathan. I mean, out of the two games that we've played, Adam, it's only been one block of 45 minutes that we can be disappointed with. The other 3 halves of football have been pretty solid for the Socceroos.
Yeah, totally agree. And two totally different propositions, and the coaching staff knew this coming in, that the Americans were definitely going to play differently to Turkey. I mean, you heard Tony Popovic through the week calling Turkey a more technically based team. That's code for they don't play as quick, and they're not as quick, full stop. Whereas the Americans, they're technically based, they're okay, but in terms of physicality and explosiveness, and this is the Pochettino blueprint, they're right up there. They're up with tournament best. I don't know if they can go a long way into the tournament based on that second half of the Americans. They showed their vulnerabilities, and I think a good European side who plays with the ball and can play at that high tempo is going to really trouble them. But today, that was enough. That was definitely enough given how timid we were in that first half.
Kyle is with us on the line from Essendon. Morning, Kyle. It was the United States winning 2-0 against the Socceroos. Cam Burgess, an own goal, the Australian defender, and then Freeman in the 43rd minute. So it was 2-0 in the first half, and that's how it ended at full time. Kyle, what were your thoughts from the game?
Yeah, like today I just thought Popovic got it completely wrong tactically, because I don't understand how you can start Matthew Leckie and Nish in a World Cup game when Matthew Leckie, we saw in the two openers that he was purely not up to it, and unfortunately he shouldn't even be in the squad, but that's another story. But literally he left them with no option as in our defenders to have no outlet. So he even took off Mo at half-time when we clearly need Mo to soak up their defenders and knock the ball back. Even if you want Yengi forward, because you need someone to tackle their athletic defenders. And mind you, we never once targeted Tim Ream in the back line, which is their huge weakness. So I think Popper just messed up that first half completely, and he corrected it somewhat in the second. We should have started off. Yes, we can be a bit more defensive against them, but he went completely, totally defensive and conceded all possession and let them just work and do what they wanted to do. So Popovic needs to work on this big time because he didn't trust his boys like he always has said in the presses.
Yeah, that one raised my eyebrows as well, Kyle, and I'll throw this to you, Adam. Taking Mo Toure off at half-time, do you reckon that was the right call and not bringing on a target man in his place? He went with the smaller front three.
Yeah, I could understand seeing how it played out in the second half, because what we wanted to do was essentially play to a drop-in winger, play some link play, and then get Nestory, because the Connor Metcalf did it a number of times. So he dropped off the last line, he dropped onto this beautiful space and played that brave pass square, usually to Jacob Italiano or another player. And then what they wanted to do was get Nestory to just go smashing in behind or off the shoulder of Tim Ream, and it nearly worked a couple of times. I mean, it did work really, but Chris Richards somehow didn't give away a foul. And the referee at that stage, he had a calf cramp later, he had a brain cramp right there, because I could not believe that wasn't a free kick. Look, the referee's not the reason for the result today. It was frustrating watching him at times, but that's by the by. I think the way that he wanted to play there, that was the blueprint for the game to get to 60 minutes at 1-0 or 0-0. That's how I feel they set up that first half and didn't quite perform how they wanted to get to that stage of the game and then cause issues. So it's a risk. Look, wasn't he, JK? We were here a week ago. We were about to hand him the keys to every city in Australia and make him head of state, Tony Popovic, for the things he did with the team selection. And obviously today it didn't quite go right, and I'll be fascinated to hear his reasoning behind it, because let's be true here. He won't throw anyone under the bus because he's got another couple of games to go. He's got to have a happy squad. He's got to have a squad that all feel part of it. But some explanations are required to the Australian public, I think, because we're all getting behind it. And this is what being a proper football nation is praise when it goes well and criticism when it doesn't.
They were some of the big moments of the match, all thanks to Liquorland. Game on, drink sorted, legendary. Liquorland, broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026 official radio broadcaster. And just to Kyle's first point there, our previous caller, Adam. So Leckie and Velupile, so you mentioned, why Irankunda and Metcalf might have been dropped from this starting 11, but to bring in Leckie and Velupile into the 11, but also into the squad overall after both had Matthew Leckie barely played all season in the A-League for Melbourne City and only came back in the last month or so for the finals. And Nishan Velupile didn't have his best season for Melbourne Victory this season. I mean, those before the tournament were question marks in the squad of 26.
Yeah, and there are others on that bench who are looking at it going, I mean, I saw Aiden Rustic, he was one of the last men off the pitch. You'd be wondering why he hasn't played a minute right there, and probably fair enough. He could feel really, really hard done by, especially how that game panned out. Do they start him? Is he mobile enough to play the Leckie role? I think with Matthew Leckie, the reasoning is that Popovic trusts him in a game like this, in a game of this magnitude, because he's played so many big ones going back to 2014 where the atmosphere was off the charts in that first game against Chile. And it reminded me a little bit of that particular atmosphere here today. So he trusts him in that cauldron moment, but physically maybe he wasn't quite as sharp and as nimble as he needs to be. And that in turn put pressure on what was behind him. And not saying he didn't do his job, but it just felt like everyone was under pressure in that first half. Nishan Velupillay, I think Popovic has made it clear now with his team selections that he wants Mo Toure through the middle who can run 35 k's an hour, and he wants someone on one of the two flanks to be able to do that as well. Irankunda last week, Nishan Velupillay, didn't work out because there was no quality ball coming from deep in Australia's low block when the ball did turn over. So, yeah, that were the reasoning. I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm just saying that the reasons, I reckon, why he's landed on that. I mean, we can all have it our opinion now because we went in at 2-0 down, so it looks wrong.
0433 98 11 16 for your text messages. Paul says, first game, our best player was the coach and the selectors. Second game, our worst player was the coach and the selectors. There's pretty strong feedback off the text. Matt says, shocking team selection and first half tactics by Popovic. We should have come out and attacked early and tried to put them on some sort of back foot. And Michael says, they played better football in the first half, but I reckon the referee was absolutely shocking in the second half. Cost us a few frees, potentially 2 goals, and we would have been level. But he probably cost us. Not happy.
Yeah.
Not a happy camper, says Michael.
Yeah, remember, JK, remember 06, and I think his name was Marcus Merck, who was the referee for Brazil, Australia. And we were second best that day. We played a little bit better. We had the odd chance or two against a pretty hot Brazilian side. But Harry Kewell went on and gave an absolute bake to the referee after the game and nearly got banned for the next game, actually. I think John O'Neill forced him to apologise after that, the then CEO of Football Australia, to say, hey, mate, can you go apologise so you can definitely play the next game? But Tony Popovic actually went out to the referee today and had a good 30-minute conversation, which I think was a one-way conversation with a bit of hand-waving and like an explanation. A lot of body language from Tony Popovic towards the referee. So I don't think he was complimenting or checking on how much pickle juice he had when he went down with that cramp.
Adam Peacock with us here on our Global Game post-match show. That was the Did You See That moment for DD. SEN says yes to going out after the game. Cheap trips so you can do more. DD, broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster. The lines are open, 1300 736 736. Mark, Gazy, Bryce, Carlos, hang on the line. We'll be coming to you right after this here on the Global Game post-match show. Brought to you by Melbourne City, from grassroots to football's biggest stage, proudly backing Australian football. And for Allianz Australia, official insurance partner of Football Australia. And SEN say yes to going out after the game with DD. Cheap trips so you can do more. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster. More of your calls and your text messages on the other side of this.
Keno Go's $40 million jackpot. Download the app. Sportsbet, the easiest way to bet on the cup. Imagine what you could be buying instead. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster.
World Cup Soccer has now ended featuring the Socceroos. Watch out for extra foot traffic near venues around the city, including Federation Square and Amy Park. Otherwise, a wet start to the weekend, but all major arterials are moving well. See if you could save at tax time with HBF Hospital Cover. Plus, join by 30 June to get 6 weeks free. Visit hbf.com.au today for details. T's and C's apply. And you won't miss a minute of this year's AFL season, with every game live on SEN and streaming on the SEN app.
The cheesy goodness of McDonald's UK's Philly cheese stack. So tasty, we took it. Macca's World Menu Heist. The most wanted menu items heisted from around the world. Get them before we have to give them back. Available after 10:30am.
Score game day deals at BWS. Get a 10-pack of Matzo's ginger beer cans for $40. Save 12. Hurry, offer ends Sunday. T's and C's apply. Choose to drink wise.
What would your F-150 adventure be? What dream could 4.5-tonne towing make true? For me, it's hauling a big, big boat like the Bertram 25, and whether it's chasing a marlin on the New South Wales coast or a whiting in Port Phillip Bay, you can chase just about any sort of fish. For you, it could be pulling a caravan or towing a horse float. Whatever adventure you're dreaming of, load it up and live it up in the Ford F-150.
This World Cup, supersize your football experience with Sportsbet's Feed. Get inspiration and copy bets from other World Cup punters with a tap of a button. The Feed from Sportsbet. Conditions apply.
Chances are you're about to lose.
Woody in the morning, Woody in the evening, Woody at any time. Now I get my Woodies, thanks to AMI.
If you can't get a good erection, or you have premature problems, call the doctors at AMI. AMI has helped thousands of couples with longer lasting sex. AMI has a fast-acting oral strip that may provide better stamina and a prolonged performance. Call the doctors at AMI on 1800 10 1080 for a free consultation.
Dryers on sale. Harvey Norman half-yearly clearance. Big brand dryers on sale. Hisense, Westinghouse, Electrolux, LG, Fisher & Paykel, Haier, Samsung and more. Race in for hot clearance deals across the range. Grab a Westinghouse dryer from just $294. Big brand heat pump dryers from $792. And LG dryers now from under $1,000. Hurry, offers are for a limited time. Harvey Norman, Melbourne's kitchen and laundry appliance specialist. Half-yearly clearance on now.
Lace up your boots and get ready for the biggest football event of the year with Westfield. You won't want to miss the free football activities and giveaways for fans of all ages during the month of June. From face painting and sport clinics with local community clubs to player and mascot meet and greets and Westfield member giveaways, there's something for everyone. Check out your local centre's website or the Westfield app for more info about their free football activities.
We all love end of financial year. Here at Toyota, we like to think a little longer term, like a lifetime longer. A lifetime of durability, turning that tiny number on your odometer into something much bigger. A lifetime of reliability for wherever the road takes you. And a lifetime of hybrid efficiency, built on generations of trusted technology. Value for a lifetime starts this tax time at your local Toyota dealership. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
Score game day deals at BWS. Get a 4-pack of Vodka Cruiser Blueberry 10% cans for $22. Hurry, offer ends Sunday. T's and C's apply. Choose to drink wise.
Keno Go's $40 million jackpot. Download the app. Sportsbet, the easiest way to bet on the cup. Imagine what you could be buying instead. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster. This is the Global Game.
Here's the free kick. Robinson back to the top of the box, and it's fired in with pace. It spoons up in the air, and into the back of the net it goes. Alex Freeman got the final touch, but Australia may yet be saved. There's your answer. It's 2-0 for the United States of America.
2 goals in this game brought to you by Valvoline. They weren't exactly the cleanest goals of the contest. You wouldn't really say there was a goal of the match, so to speak. They were both a bit scrappy from the United States. There was an own goal first from Cam Burgess, and then Alex Freeman off a heavy deflection. Valvoline, the original engine oil and official supporter of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. This is the Global Game post-match wrap, all thanks to Allianz Australia, official insurance partner of Football Australia, and Keno Go. Kick off soccer season with Keno Go's $40 million jackpot. Download the app for your chance to win. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026 official radio broadcaster. Full-time in the second group game for the Socceroos at the World Cup, and it was the United States who beat Australia 2-0 with 2 goals in the first half. 1300 736 736 to take your calls. We'll do that in just a second. Adam Peacock, though, is our expert here on the Global Game post-match wrap. Adam, there was a bit of niggle in the game. We saw plenty of niggle between the Australians and the United States in the friendly they played several months ago, and there were some questionable fouls, non-fouls. Nestor Irankunda was a bit frustrated at times. What were you seeing in the byplay happening on and off the ball?
I was seeing the ref was guessing a lot of the time, which frustrated everyone. He wasn't quite sure of himself. He certainly wasn't quite sure of his physical capabilities. I've never seen that in my life. JK, you've watched a lot of football as well. I've never seen a referee go down with cramp. And there was a massive chance that he was going to go off on a stretcher, which would have been a photo for all eternity, correct?
Absolutely. Oh, that would have been memes. It would have been replayed through social media. I think I've seen referees get injured or pick up a knock, but not actually go down and need assistance because of a cramp.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I just felt he was guessing a lot of the time, which frustrated the players. The Americans were getting frustrated by some of the, especially in the second half, when Australia matched the intensity and it actually went past the intensity of the Americans. The Americans were flustered. They weren't quite on the page of what they were in the first half, or on track of what they were in the first half in a mentality state. They were getting really annoyed, frustrated. they were getting some calls, not all. On another day, we get a couple of penalties, but this is not another day. It's a one-off day at a World Cup game, and it is eminently frustrating that we just didn't handle what we could control in that first half, because then it just gets left in the lap of the gods a bit. So I'm just watching a few of the players move back to a lot of the families have stayed. Poor old Alessandro Siccardi, who had a lot to say to the referee. He's obviously learned a few tricks in Italy. He's been man-marked by a drug tester at the moment, so he can't do much. He's still in his playing kit, but the rest of the team are filtering over to say hello to their family who have made the trip over to watch the game.
All right, back to your calls. Mark on the line from Taylor's Hill. Mark, what was your biggest takeaway from today's 2-0 defeat to the United States?
G'day. Yeah, there's two things I wanted to say about the game, apart from the ref cramping, which I've never seen before as well. The first thing is fair play to the US. They walk the walk and talk the talk. They have a lot of skills and ability, and I think Australia underestimated them, especially in that first half. And in the second half, I think Australia got sucked in a little bit with the physicality and whatever, and I think the US were playing that up a bit or whatever. But I also wanted to give a huge shout-out to the supporters. The amount of support Australia had at that game was enormous, and they should all be congratulated.
Yeah, Adam, you had front row seats to this. 3 bays behind the goal at the right of screen if you were watching on TV, and then pockets of just bright green and gold everywhere else around the stadium. What was the support like in venue?
Fantastic. And well done to FIFA. I mean, FIFA haven't got a lot of raps in the last couple of weeks with a few of the things that they've organised for this World Cup. But to put Australia prominently, the ticket buyers in one area and then in another section or another category in one area as well. Fantastic. And, yeah, the support was great. And it was, JK, it was a really good vibe around the ground this morning. The Americans are loud, as we know, and proud, very proud. But, yeah, it was very, very cordial. To the extremity, if you know what I mean, not tipping over to become smart-ass or anything like that. It was a really, really vibrant atmosphere, and it's going to be, what is it? What are we? Quarter to 3 in the afternoon here. This is going to be a long, long evening, I think, over here in Seattle.
I'm sure there's some sports bars nearby that you can watch the next 3 games in.
No, home to the room just to drink soda water and watch the games.
Gazy's with us in Laverton. Gazy, welcome.
G'day. I just want to apologise. I'm sorry it's not an excuse, but I've been spending a bit of time at the Austin Hospital with my elderly mother, and I had to ring up. I've turned the radio on, as I do, 24/7. I missed the game. I want to apologise to the whole nation. I missed the bloody game. And I've just got up and heard that we... anyway, that's basically why I ring up. I want to apologise. I'm probably the only person in Australia that didn't watch the game.
You've got to look after your mum.
That's all right.
You've got to look after your mum. It's all good. That's a good...
Family
That's
first.
fine. Exactly.
Family first. And we've got we'll put the highlights up on the SEN podcast channel so you can listen to Simon Hill and Andy Harper's call on the SEN podcast page there, Gazy. Carlos is with us in Bentley. Carlos, what were your thoughts after full time?
Yeah, first of all, reffing, it's out of our control, but it was vomit in mouth job. You know what I mean? Like a ref going down with cramp. I've never seen that in my life. But the thing is, what I find what's in our control, Popovic benching our 2 goal scorers in the first half is the most questionable thing I've seen in the Socceroos jersey in a long time, because I get Volpato coming on the second half because he's an untested talent in the Aussie jersey, but benching Nestroy, Irukunda and Metcalf after saving us in the last game, I think Popper's tactics honestly went to his head. I'm not saying like he can't coach or whatever, but that was so questionable. And starting Matt Leckie, who's very old and tired, love Leckie what he did in 2022, but the team, what we can control is who we select. And we bring in, we bench our goal scorers. It was so questionable. I'd love to hear your boys' thoughts on that.
Yeah, it is a tough one, as I was mentioning with JK before. it's like you've got a hand of and you've got the draw 2, the draw 4 or the skip, and you're not sure which one to play. And Popper's played draw 2 when maybe he should have played the skip, and he's still got all his cards in his hands after an hour, 2-0 down, not sure what to do and not going to win the game. It's a really difficult one. And we just have to lean on the words of Popper in the next couple of days about exactly why he's done what he's done, because it's backfired. And he'll wear that. Like he wasn't charging around in Oakland through the week saying, I am so great, how good am I? He just knew that he had a job to do for the second game, and this time it didn't quite come off. But we'll be back. I'm confident on that second half that we can carry things through to Paraguay. He does have, JK, some interesting selection issues for that Paraguay game, because Irankunda deserves to start, Toure deserves to start, Connor Metcalf deserves to start, and what we saw in that last half an hour, Christian Volpato absolutely deserves to start. 4 players for 3 positions, unless he changes the shape, which I'm not sure he will do at this critical juncture of trying to get into a round of 32 at a World Cup. So big questions coming for Popper.
All right, we'll keep the discussion going on the other side of the break. We've got a full board of calls, so we'll try and get to as many of you as we can. We might run out of time, but we'll do our best. Before the break, though, let's get the latest from Sportsbet.
Sportsbet, the easiest way to bet on the cup.
Chances are you're about to lose.
And from Sportsbet, we have Sam Phillips. Sam, what's the latest from the games coming up through the rest of today?
Yes, morning boys. Not an ideal result this morning, obviously, but let's have a look at the next few games. Scotland and Morocco jumping shortly. Morocco, all the money for them in this one after that really impressive performance to kick off the tournament. What feels like a very long time ago now. They're $2.20 into $1.66. The draw's out to $3.50, and Scotland have been $4 all the way out to $6. Not a great deal of betting movement in Brazil's clash with Haiti, as you'd expect. They're $1.10, the draw $11, and Haiti 23s. But then in the now very important game for the Socceroos, Turkey are $2 favourites. The draw $3.30, and Paraguay are $3.90 in that one. So let's hope that result falls our way in the late game today.
Overall futures markets for the title, who have you got on top at the moment?
Futures markets, France are now rock solid favourites at $5. Spain are into $6.50. England $7. They've been really well back this week. $9.50 into $7 after their performance to kick off the tournament. Argentina $8.50. They round out all the teams in single figures, boys.
And for Australia's future, getting out of the group, what do we look like?
Yeah, we're out to $11 now, boys. So that's to win the group. We actually don't have what price we are to get out of the group. That'll depend on this next game. But $11 now to win the group. US obviously $1.20, Turkey $7, and Paraguay 67s.
All right, excellent stuff, Sam. We'll chat again tomorrow.
Thanks, boys.
Sam Phillips with us from Sportsbet right here on our post-match show on the Global Game.
Sportsbet, the easiest way to bet on the cup.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
Keno Go's $40 million jackpot. Download the app. Sportsbet, the easiest way to bet on the cup. Imagine what you could be buying instead. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster.
World Cup Soccer has now ended featuring the Socceroos. Watch out for extra foot traffic near venues around the city, including Federation Square and Amy Park. Otherwise, a wet start to the weekend, but all major arterials are moving well. See if you could save at tax time with HBF Hospital Cover. Plus, join by 30 June to get 6 weeks free. Visit hbf.com.au today for details. T's and C's apply. And you won't miss a minute of this year's AFL season with every game live on SEN and streaming on the SEN app.
The FIFA World Cup meal at Macca's is here. Score a free cup with 6 to collect. Featuring Beckham, Ronaldinho, Henry, Yamal, Son and Grimace. The FIFA World Cup meal at Macca's. Available at participating restaurants for a limited time while supplies last. All rights reserved. FIFA World Cup 2026.
This World Cup, supersize your football experience with a Sportsbet same-game multi. With more markets and bigger odds, it's the fast and easy way to bet on the World Cup with Sportsbet. Conditions apply.
Chances are you're about to lose.
We all love end of financial year. Here at Toyota, we like to think a little longer term, like a lifetime longer. A lifetime of durability, turning that tiny number on your odometer into something much bigger. A lifetime of reliability for wherever the road takes you. And a lifetime of hybrid efficiency, built on generations of trusted technology. Value for a lifetime starts this tax time at your local Toyota dealership. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
When you're stuck in a long queue or sitting for a new hairdo, add some thrill to your wait with our $40 million jackpot every 3 minutes. Keno Go. Download now. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply. Gamble responsibly.
Say yes to tackling a couple of soccerooners at your local after the match. You get it? Soccerooners, schooners. It sounds like schooners. Anyway, say yes to going out after the game. Say yes. ODD.
Score game day deals at BWS. Get a bottle of Grant Burge Miami Shiraz for $18. Hurry, offer ends Sunday. T's and C's apply. Choose to drink wise.
Want winter fragrances that smell as good as the deals? Run, don't walk to Chemist Warehouse. This week, pick up Coach by Coach 30ml EDP for just $39.99. For something deliciously floral and fruity, get Cora's Midnight Dahlia 50ml EDT, now $59.99. Now something spicy and woody, get Victor and Rolf Spice Bomb 50ml EDT, only $89.99. And the captivating Rabanne Olympia 80ml EDP or Parfum is now from $119.99 each. Chemist Warehouse. Great savings every day.
The FIFA World Cup meal at Macca's is here. Score a free cup with 6 to collect. Featuring Beckham, Ronaldinho, Henry, Yamal, Son and Grimace. The FIFA World Cup meal at Macca's. Available at participating restaurants for a limited time while supplies last. All rights reserved. FIFA World Cup 2026.
What would your F-150 adventure be? What dream could 4.5-tonne towing make true? For me, it's hauling a big, big boat like the Bertram 25, and whether it's chasing a marlin on the New South Wales coast or a whiting in Port Phillip Bay, you can chase just about any sort of fish. For you, it could be pulling a caravan or towing a horse float. Whatever adventure you're dreaming of, load it up and live it up in the Ford F-150.
When you're stuck in a long queue or sitting for a new hairdo, add some thrill to your wait with our $40 million jackpot every 3 minutes. Keno Go. Download now. 18 plus only. T's and C's apply. Gamble responsibly.
This World Cup, supersize your football experience with Sportsbet's Feed. Get inspiration and copy bets from other World Cup punters with a tap of a button. The Feed from Sportsbet. Conditions apply.
Chances are you're about to lose.
Keno Go's $40 million jackpot. Download the app. Sportsbet, the easiest way to bet on the cup. Imagine what you could be buying instead. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster. This is the Global Game.
The Global Game post-match wrap here on SEN right around Australia. The Socceroos and the United States. It was the USA who got the win 2-0 over the Socceroos in the second round of group matches this morning. Australia to play Paraguay this upcoming Friday, so 6 days from now. That'll be a midday kickoff Australian Eastern Time. Adam Peacock alongside myself, Jordan Canellis on the post-match wrap. Thanks to Allianz Australia, official insurance partner of Football Australia, broadcast sponsor of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026, official radio broadcaster. Adam, we've got just enough time for one or two more callers. Bryce has been hanging on the line in Frankston. Morning, Bryce. How are you?
Yeah, morning, boys. A bit deflated, but you know what? Host nation is always going to be a tough result. But I think, Adam, you nailed it a bit before when you said that there's almost 4 guarantees that Popper needs for the Paraguay game, in finding a way to make Toure, Irankunda, Volpato and Metcalf just work in the front third from the first minute. That's just creativity and energy to get a result. And I think he's going to sort of do that, because I don't know what you guys think and what the weather was like in Seattle, but I just think they looked a bit fatigued today, and whether it's the Turkey game maybe taking a bit more out of it than what we thought, or maybe being a bit spooked from the US, I think it was maybe a mix of both. But like the likes of, like, you don't want to single out some individuals, but Burgess, Taliano, like even Ocon Jr., like looked quite fatigued. But I think on a lighter note, I'll leave it with, we got one win that I saw on social media over the Yanks today. It was a man with a sign out the front of the stadium in Seattle saying, Bunnings snags over hot dogs any day. So that's a win for the green and gold this morning.
And on a Saturday morning in Australia, there is not a truer word spoken with everyone going out to do their handiwork later today. But, mate, it's a huge selection quandary coming. It won't be as hot a game in San Francisco. It wasn't that hot here today, actually, to be fair. They just weren't with it in the first 20 minutes. They were just caught on the hop by an American side just playing downwind, it felt like.
Thank you for all your calls today. It's been a pleasure having a chat to you all. We couldn't get to the last couple. We're just running out of time here on the Global Game post-match wrap, but we'll have talkback all through the week on SEN, and we'll have pre- and post-match talkback for the Paraguay game as well. So there'll be plenty more football coverage on the way on SEN. Before we wrap up, let's get the latest, though, from Tab.
The 3 most important dates to put in your diary are for the green and gold at your local Tab. Get your team together to watch our team at Tab live and loud on the big screen, with personalised venue mode offers for every game on the Tab app. One place for all the cup action. Now that's something to shout about.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
An odds update brought to you by Tab. Chances are you're about to lose.
All right, a big morning already and still plenty of World Cup action still on the way. So Scotland got off to a fantastic start, albeit against opposition we thought they'd fare well against. Now they have a stiff test up against Morocco, who of course kept Brazil to that famous draw in the opener. So $6.25 about Scotland, $3.60 about the draw, $1.62 Morocco favoured, and they're proving their performance in 2022 no fluke. Brazil, $1.09 expected to atone after what some perceived was a disappointing opener. I think that might be a touch on the disrespectful side to Morocco, given their feats of 4 years ago, but $1.09, the draw $9, and Haiti $26. Haiti is certainly expected to be the fourth of that group. Now, Turkey, they're hoping to bounce back against Paraguay as well. Even money about Turkey, the draw $3.25 and Paraguay at $3.70, the other game today. And having had 30 shots without having scored against Australia, Turkey will be thinking lightning surely cannot strike twice, and they'll be able to bounce back with victory there today. Now, in terms of overall markets, first goal scorers, etc., they're all available at tab.com.au. We might have a look at the overall winner for the tournament. Australia $151 for what it's worth, but we have seen a shift at the top. Spain was an equal $5 favourite with France. Last time we chatted, France now $4.50 in Spain after what must be said was a lacklustre beginning. Now it's $7. England at $7 have trimmed in, and France just in that half a point, as I've mentioned. Argentina into single figures at $9, a few suspecting that maybe Messi was past his prime and Argentina not bringing the greatest team we've seen over the years. But, hey, they're the reigning champions, and Messi kicks things off with a hat-trick. You never question the legend. Portugal at $10, $13 or more the rest, including Brazil, Germany, the Netherlands, and then Norway at $34. Speaking of Norway, and of course, Haaland got off to a fast start with a double and is prominent enough in the Golden Boot market, currently sitting there on the fourth line of betting. Lionel Messi at $4. You would expect Argentina to run fairly deep into this one. Harry Kane at $4 and Mbappe at $4 as well. Best of luck.
Brought to you by Tab, your destination for cup betting. Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
Avoid injury time heartbreak on the cup with Tab. Place a correct score bet, and if you're correct at the 90-minute mark, we'll pay you out as a winner. Paid out before any injury time goals? Now that's something to shout about. Offer applies to correct score markets and single or same-game multi-bets placed online. T's and C's apply.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.
Wrapping up here on the Global Game post-match show, Jordan Canellis and Adam Peacock. Adam, in 10 seconds, 15 seconds, what does the next week look like ahead of Paraguay?
Goldfish mentality, forget today happened in a sense, but learn from it a little bit, but just freshen up and get ready for Paraguay and play like America did in the first half against them in Santa Clara, and things will be a little bit of all right.
All right, excellent stuff. Adam, thank you very much. We'll chat to you again next time on the Global Game.
Cheers, mate. Have a good day.
That's it for us here on SEN. We'll catch you again tomorrow morning for more World Cup action and again on Friday later in the week for Australia's clash against Paraguay.
Keno Go's $40 million jackpot. Download the app. Sportsbet, the easiest way to bet on the cup. Imagine what you could be buying instead. Broadcast sponsors of SEN's coverage of the FIFA World Cup 2026. Official radio broadcaster.
You're listening to SEN, your home of sport.
The United States of America booked their spot in the round of 32. For Australia, it's now all about Paraguay in Santa Clara on match day 3. 2 first-half goals, an own goal from Cameron Burgess on 11 minutes, and then Alex Freeman with half-time looming.
So, disappointment for the Socceroos in Seattle this morning, going down to the US 2-0 in their second match of the World Cup. Good morning, I'm Adam Pont with SEN News. Frustrating game from the Aussies, never really troubling the Americans. A cruel start to the scoring with an own goal, then a VAR decision going against us. A triple change after the half-time break. Saw a more attacking game, but the damage had already been done. The focus now Paraguay with a draw, probably enough to get us through. Tony Modra remains in a critical but stable condition after that nasty crash near Victor Harbour. The cattle truck he was driving in struck a tree, shattering the windscreen. A second bird is being tested after the first suspected case of a new strain of bird flu was found in Australia. Federal Agricultural Minister Julie Collins has confirmed a positive test had been returned by a sick migratory bird in southern WA.
If it is confirmed to be the H5 bird flu, this will be sobering but not unexpected, given the spread globally. I want to reassure the public that we're well placed to respond to and to manage this situation.
And tax time just around the corner. Scamwatch is reminding us to remain vigilant. It's warning us to be aware of any phone calls, emails or texts from someone claiming to be from the ATO or MyGov. SEN.com.au Sport is coming up next.
Get 10% of your purchase back in an Amart gift card on spends of $9.99 or more. This end of financial year deal ends tomorrow. Hurry into Amart. T's and C's apply.
Seesawing game on the Gold Coast last night. Seen the Hawks come out on top. It was the Suns who raced out to a 3-goal lead early before Hawthorn broke away, then had their lead cut to 7 at the last change. Hawks got on top in the midfield, something coach Sam Mitchell says they worked on over last week's bye.
We did a bit of work on it. So when we had the mid-season break, we looked at centre bounces and we were struggling to score and we're struggling to defend scores. So that was an important part of the game, and pleased we were able to take our chances.
It's the perfect time to buy at Werribee Isuzu Utes end of financial year sale. On now.
We've got a crash in West Meadows on Micklet Road. It's closed northbound after Broadmeadows Road. Use Pascoe Vale Road instead, and upgrade works on the Eastern Freeway closed in both directions all weekend between the Channel Highway and Tram Road. Unlock a Volkswagen deal this end of financial year, like the Caddy Cargo from $45,990 drive away. Offer ends June 30. T's and C's apply. Visit Volkswagen.com.au and you won't miss a minute of this year's AFL season.